Hey guys, and welcome to Swami Studios. I'm your host, MoonlightSwami, and today I'm bringing you guys the Dugout,
I get kicked.
episode 7, with
Hello.
Smallest99, Jared, aka SAINTofSINS, and Mo the Foe 16. So, not much happened in the terms of big acquisitions, transactions, things like that this past week, but a few stories broke that definitely hurt baseball. I think there's two Jareds. I mean, not two Smalls.
Two Smalls.
Smalls, what happened to your other person?
Is he on mute?
I don't know.
I was on mute right there. I'm sorry. I had to fix that.
I have to kick your other self.
Well, it looks so good.
Not on the stream.
Okay.
Kicked him. We're
So
good.
put your
All
logo.
gravy here on the gravy train.
Okay, so basically, with what type of dealer was it? I guess we can say it's a drug dealer because that's what it really is. But
He provides medical treatments and all that, physical therapy, and all that bullshit.
and it's located in Miami, and four
Gable.
four big name, one kind of lesser players were involved, and this on the books for using steroids that were acquired through him. The players are Alex Rodriguez, who is the most prevalent, then Nelson Cruz, then it was Gio Gonzalez, who was a 20-game winner for the Nationals, and then it was Melky Cabrera. At the beginning half of the year, he was already suspended for steroids, probably what he got them from. Comments, concerns, reactions, what? Start off with you, Jared.
Oh, of course. Let's start off with the heavy hitter. I'll be honest. I do not care for this story at all. I didn't pay attention to it at all, mostly because it's a lot more allegations, and I believe MLB is trying to investigate it, but they're getting blocked off by actual. I guess the FBI was involved in it at some point. I don't really recall, and they're blocking off the MLB's investigation of it, which rightfully so. Let them figure out the actual details before they let MLB try and interfere and find out what kind of penalties and fines they're going to start handing out for their players' involvement whatsoever. Another reason I didn't care, Jose Canseco's been pretty much on top of the game in terms of steroid use in baseball, and he didn't say much about it at all.
Because he's got nothing else to say.
Yeah, I don't think there's much here outside of just more allegations that are just starting to link players who happen to have a Miami root to them. So honestly, I don't care either way, simply because we've already seen millions of cases where guys have been using steroids and it hasn't helped them out. We've seen cases where guys played better before the steroids, played better after the steroids. I mean, it's a mismatch. It depends on the person and the ability behind the player itself, rather than what substance is going in them.
Mo, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's too bad because just when you think it's over, it comes right back. And with these type of caliber name players, I mean, A-Rod, big name, Gio, big name, Nelson Cruz, it's too bad. But I think Nelson Cruz was misusing them because he batted like 260 last year with like 24 home runs.
260 is a good year for Nelson Cruz's batting average, though.
That's true, that's true. But I mean, if he's going to use them, he should bomb 40 home runs, not 26.
Especially in Texas.
Right.
Smalls, what is your take on this?
I mean, I got to agree. I don't think Nelson Cruz is using it because he's, 122 career home runs?
Yeah.
In 8 years?
Something along those lines.
Has there been a significant spike? No. Gio Gonzalez, he's a pitcher. I'm not really worried about that. A-Rod, it seems like A-Rod, more A-Rod stuff to do.
Yeah.
I mean, until anything's proven, I mean, what can you say? But it is what it is. This is random and out of nowhere. Like, where did this guy come from? Like, what made him be like, yeah, I'm gonna tell ESPN? Like, where did this come from? Did he get arrested?
I don't know.
Yeah, there was really no reasoning for it just coming out.
It was the most random of all time,
And
and he's saying he was hanging out with A-Rod, eating dinners and injecting him in the ass. Like, I don't.
But it's just like, A-Rod having that happen, whether it's true or not, you kind of come to expect A-Rod to just sink a little bit lower. He used them from 01 to 03. It wasn't illegal. Okay. He had great numbers, best numbers in his career in Texas, in my opinion, those 3 years. Then after that, he's been up and down, horrible in the playoffs. The fact that if he is on it, and he played that badly the entire season, injured or not, and the fact that he hit, 111 in the postseason, that's disgraceful. I know steroids don't have to have an effect on you, but they obviously helped him.
He was taking him for his hip. You don't really know.
Yeah, he might have, but, if steroids helped him that much in Texas, you'd think that they would do something again if he was actually using it, which we don't know. But the fact that he had all of these records and stuff from the past year on these specific players, it's a little weird. It's also weird that it came out. This entire week has just been
exactly. It's just so random.
The entire week has been on. First you have the Harbaugh brothers and all of their glory and all that stuff. That's fine, but it's still weird the way that they're just conducting all of this stuff. Then the whole Manti Te'o thing is just odd beyond belief. And now this, Jared, I know you say that it's not much more than it always has been. It's just more published, but this week has made sports a soap opera, much more so than it should be. And I do agree that it has been pretty much forever, but with all this media and with all this coverage on it, it makes it kind of overwhelming.
It's just human nature, People do things to try and get their name out there, make themselves a little bit more popular. Because the more popular a player, person in sports is, the more money they can generate on their contract negotiations. Because they're the money drawers for their team, for their franchise.
Completely agreed. Okay, let's move past it because this is just a messy topic that we have very little details on. We just know that it came out.
Well, the only thing that came out of this that we can talk about is the Yankees trying to avoid A-Rod's contract. And
won't happen.
Yeah, there's one that's not happening, and two, Yankees, this is your own mess. You had no one else bidding for him, and you outbidded yourselves by giving him more than what he was asking for.
Yeah, they wanted to show off that they had the money at a time when they wanted to win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He really wanted to avoid it. How come he didn't avoid it back when he confessed and shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That'll definitely hurt their case. Right, they signed him after the 2003 World Series when they lost to the Marlins, right?
Yeah.
Was that season? Okay. All right.
Wasn't it a trade?
The Alfonso.
Yeah, they traded Soriano.
Alfonso Soriano.
Yeah, they traded him, and right after that season, and then they signed him to a long-term deal.
Yeah.
So they owe him 5 years, 5 years more, and
they owe him $137 million.
That's incredible. Okay, the Diamondbacks extended Martin Prado for 4 more years.
Mm-hmm.
Smart move. All you guys agree? Just smart move.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Only move to make.
Yeah, can't just have a guy for 1 year like they did with like the Braves did with Michael Bourne, and then just.
You're gonna trade Justin Upton for a rental?
Let's see what else. Travis Hafner and Juan Rivera, 2 platoon players, went to the Yankees, minor league deals. What does that make you guys think about?
I'm a little confused why we're calling Travis Hafner a platoon player.
Because he does well against one side and not as well against the other.
No, platoon player usually means they could play multiple positions pretty well.
But we call Ibanez a platoon player.
Yeah, because he could play multiple positions in the outfield and cover, first base from time to time.
I don't know that's the exact definition, what they call platoon players for the most part.
Look it up, chat.
Yeah, please.
What they call for the most part, if you look at the A's, they got players of the same position who can play one position but can hit well against different sides of the plate.
If anybody cares, Adrian Peterson won the MVP.
Did he really?
And Peyton Manning won the Comeback Player of the Year.
And RG3 won Rookie of the Year over Morris and Luck, and Wilson and Kuechly won it for defensive. and J.J. Watt won AP defensive overall.
And AP won AP offensive.
Okay, well,
Continuing.
that's definitely good. Okay,
Right.
so I mean, these are. What do you think about these signings? They're
Irrelevant.
irrelevant.
They're irrelevant. Hafner's not going to get much playing time, especially when if they get A-Rod back during the second half of the season. He can't hit anymore. He just doesn't have that stroke anymore. He's too injury prone. He'll likely end up on the DL a couple of times, if not stay on the DL after maybe his first 2 weeks in.
Mm-hmm.
And Rivera.
Probably, get some field time, but that's as a defensive switch in the end. But that's about it.
Okay, Mo, what do you think?
I agree with that. Signings are pretty relevant. I liked Rivera more than Hafner because do the Yankees really need another lefty power hitter in that lineup? I mean, they already have Cano, Granderson, Teixeira, among others, and I just don't think the Hafner signing was good. I mean, they got Youkilis, and then if A-Rod comes back, then Youkilis can fit in that DH role. I don't know. I like the Rivera signing more though.
And Smalls, I know Rivera played for the Dodgers for a few seasons.
He did. He was good off the bench, filled in the outfield. I mean, I don't know what they're expecting from Juan Rivera. Just to fill in the role and come off the bench, man. It's just nothing. And then I'm gonna have to agree with Jared. I think A-Rod is gonna come back, play 2 weeks. He's gonna have a setback, and he'll be on the DL for 15 days, and he'll come back. He'll have another. I think it's just gonna be a terrible second half for Alex Rodriguez and the Yankees altogether.
All right. Any other big news so far this week?
Don Mattingly needs an extension. Pay the man.
They should.
They should. They really should.
They want to hold off.
I don't know why. That doesn't make any sense to me.
They're getting an $8 billion deal. Pay the man.
All right. Before we open the
$8 billion, Swami.
I heard you.
You know what you can do with $8 billion?
By the Dodgers 4 times.
You can sign Clayton Kershaw and Zane Greinke to $200 million deals.
Yeah.
And then build a brand new stadium while you're at it.
And that's what they're doing.
Hope not.
Okay.
A lot of memories at Dodger Stadium.
Okay, so we pretty much covered everything that's happened this past week. Mm-hmm. So, Jared, would you like the reins on this, or would you rather us all start it up for some fan questions first?
I thought about this, and the way we structured it last week was a bit too lengthy for my taste. So we're going to try and shorten it up a bit and focus more on the discussion on the comparisons of the players rather than setting up the actual comparisons. So what I've done this week for this segment that I'm really interested to see what the chat wants to start calling it, since Swami's really big on naming this segment. We got this week. Last week was just the warm up to get our feet wet, see how you the viewers out there responded to this, and the response was very positive. So we're doing it again this week. Player comparisons, blind player comparisons, no names. We try to strip any indication as to who the players are, so that way we can just focus on the stats and see how these players not only match up compared to one another, but how well the rest of the cast here at the Dugout are at choosing the better player in their philosophy. So this week we're doing 4 blind comparisons: 2 batters, 2 pitchers, and so let's get into our first one. I think I want to start off with the pitchers. So let me just. This is a hassle getting up the actual.
Yeah, the overlay with everything that's going on with it.
Yeah. Just too much on the screen right now. So here, no, that's
Whoa!
Never mind. I don't know why that loaded up the wrong one.
Oh, by the way, Smalls, I don't think AP won MVP yet.
It's just my sources.
All right.
So,
You got those sources. Bruce Arians wins.
there it is. That's the right graphic.
Bruce Arians won Coach of the Year.
Who did he coach?
The Colts. He was the interim head coach.
He wasn't the coach.
First interim head coach to ever
coach.
win. Okay, let's click on Jared so we can see this.
Pete Carroll should have won it.
Okay. So Jared,
this is our first player comparisons. These are both pitchers. These are all based on the 2012 stats, of course. Right now, we're going to focus on player 1 real quick. Pitched in 18 games, all 18 starts. Pitched in 103 2/3 innings. Surrendered 45 earned runs off of 90 hits with 32 walks and 96 strikeouts, giving him an ERA of 3.91, a WHIP of 1.177, and a strikeout to walk ratio of 3. Player 2 also pitched in 18 games. 15 were starts, and I just want to grab my notes here to make sure I loaded up the right. I got the right one.
18 starts, man. These guys didn't even do
18 starts. Actually, 15 starts. Surrendered 38 earned runs off of 92 hits, 35 walks, 77 strikeouts. Gave him an ERA of 3.25, a WHIP of 1.206, and 105 1/3, giving him a strikeout to walk ratio of 2.2. Hope you guys are absorbing these numbers. So, who would like to start with which player they would prefer?
Swami.
I start it every time. I'd rather take player 1.
Player 1, okay.
I find ERA to be it's a good number to have. I mean, it definitely is a telling tale. But 103 innings pitched, it's not the most. I mean, especially in comparison to player 2. But the walk, that definitely is a big factor. I like a pitcher who has good control, who can punch out a batter. Earned runs to runs, a few errors here and there that can extend an inning or two. Lower WHIP, which is, in my opinion, the most important factor to any team, especially because depending on your outfield, depending on the team around you, your ERA will go up if they hit gappers, depending on who's out in that outfield. So I'd rather have player 1. Obviously, the win-loss isn't the best, but that's not always the pitcher's fault.
Okay.
Okay. I'll take player 2. I like the ERA. I'm kind of on the opposite spectrum where I think ERA is a pretty important number. I also definitely like the win-to-loss percentage. About the same number of innings pitched, a few more walks, about 20 less strikeouts. That's the only thing that's hindering me a little bit from leaning toward player 1 a little bit more, is the amount of strikeouts that he had. Let's see. He gave up a couple less home runs. It looks like 7 or 8 less earned runs. I'll take player 2.
Okay.
My turn?
Yeah.
It's your turn. It's your time to shine.
Wow. I'm the deal breaker here. Huh. I'm going to have to go with, what do you do with your fingers there? Player 2, I kind of like because he can spot start. He can work with me. Because he obviously pitched 3 games relieving, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. But less home runs. Seems to be – he's not a strikeout guy compared to the first guy. So I'm going to take player 2, though. I'm digging what player 2 is cooking. So I'm going to go with player 2 because I just like his stats. And if I have a good infield, if I have a good defensive team, it wouldn't really matter because they could back him up if he's a ground ball pitcher.
Okay. So the reason I wanted to go with this graphic instead of what we did last week with the player 1 on one side and the blank screen on the other side, I really wanted to focus in on the viewers because last week they were really good on picking out the players, and so far I got to give it to Choo Train Choo over here. Got it again. Player 1 is Matt Garza. Player 2 is
Googling. He ain't special. He's like, I'm gonna copy the stats. Google MLB database. Matt Garza.
Well, he did it relatively quickly too. I mean, before Swami ever started opening his mouth about which player he preferred.
He Googled it.
That's some quick Google fingers right there.
He's got the Google fingers on lock.
So player 1 is Matt Garza of the Chicago Cubs, and player 2 is Miguel Gonzalez of the Baltimore Orioles. Does that change any of your opinions so far on your selection?
Nope.
Not really.
Moneyball, baby, player 2.
Well, the thing with Miguel Gonzalez is he's a 28-year-old rookie. You know, he's bounced around a lot in the minor league system.
Garza
There's a lot of good old rookies.
That is true. That is true.
Garza can be a good pitcher, but when you have Alfonso Soriano in left field, don't know how good of a defense you have out there.
Okay, now the comment section just updated for me, and I see other people got it as well.
All right. So.
Lovely comment system here, YouTube. Absolutely perfect. Don't change a thing ever.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So let's get into our first batter comparison here.
Let's do it.
And this one,
Yikes.
this one I think is a little more interesting as compared to last week's comparison of Ike Davis and Dan Uggla. Both are relatively young players. See if I got the right notes here for it.
Get them notes out.
Okay, so we have player 1. Both are in the same position. Both play within the same division.
Ooh.
So you got a real interesting tale of the tape here. Player 1 played 153 games, collected 137 hits, 84 runs, 12 home runs to 50 RBIs. Had had 59 walks, 124 strikeouts, collected 13 stolen bases in 16 attempts, batted .226, .294, .328, giving him an OPS of 622, 199 total bases.
One of these guys, Nelson Cruz?
No.
Okay.
And player 2, 157 games played, collected 135 hits, 85 runs, 21 home runs, 63 RBIs, had 74 walks to 169 strikeouts, also collected 16 stolen bases in 19 attempts, batted .230, .328, .400, giving him an OPS of 728, and had 235 total bases.
Is one of them Michael Bourne?
No.
The point of this is to not know who they are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you guys want to guess who the players are, I'm more than open to that.
I can't even see the chat, so I won't even be able to read it.
Okay. How about Mo?
169 times. God damn, Adam Dunn over here.
Mo, start.
I'll go first. Swami, I know you're going to choose player 1 because he had a lot less strikeouts, but I'm going to go with player 2. I mean, he looks a bit faster, a little bit higher batting average, much higher on base percentage, which is a big stat. A few more home runs. Player 2.
Mo's going with player 2.
I'm going with player 2. I mean, strikeouts do matter. Yeah, they do. But player 2 is better in every category. Better batting average, better OBP, better slugging, obviously better OPS, better OPS plus, more total bases, more grounded double plays, whatever. More stolen bases, same caught stealing, more walks, more RBI, more home runs, more triples, more doubles, 2 less hits, 1 more run.
Overall productive.
And played 157 games. I'd rather have player 2.
If you're a schnob like me, you'll look at less strikeouts and less double plays. What?
That's a small.
TB stand for again?
Smalls, you're going with player 1 then?
No, what does TB stand for?
Total bases.
Total bases.
Player 2.
Total bases, which, thank you, Jared and Mo, the total bases accrued off of their hits only.
Yes, it's hits plus doubles times 2, plus triples times 3, and home runs times 4.
So
Player 2!
So, okay. This is the interesting thing. Player 1 is the Seattle Mariners second baseman, Dustin Ackley.
Wow.
A bit younger than player 2, who is of the Oakland Athletics, Jamil Weeks.
wait, Jamil got 21 home runs?
I was just as shocked as you were.
Moneyball, baby! Woo!
I'll take Jamil any day of the week. He should have had more stolen bases, though. That's my only concern because he's
Yeah, I was trying to figure out the position because that's not a lot of stolen bases for a second baseman, in my opinion.
No, neither of them are. Ackley's a really good young player, and Jamal Weeks, he needs to work out those strikeouts, but...
Yeah, it's just really interesting. I think the player that I'm more interested in seeing, develop next season would be Ackley, simply because he's got more power than Weeks, but looking at these numbers, you would say that it's completely opposite.
Yeah, and now they're moving the stadium, fences in a little bit in Seattle. He has more pieces around him. I think Seattle's going to be a decent team this year, much better than the Astros.
I think my freaking softball team is fucking better than the Astros.
That might be true, except for Jose Altuve.
Who's going to be going to the freaking Angels or Dodgers or Braves come deadline.
Okay.
Oh no, I got my own notes wrong here. That's Ricky Weeks from the Brewers.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Damn
makes more sense.
I don't know how I got my own notes fucked up there.
There's no way that Jamal Weeks had 21 home runs. Hold on, I have to look that up.
Right, and Jamal didn't even start toward the end of the season, I don't think. 157 games.
I think he played 100 games in the season at most.
Right.
Jamal Weeks played 118.
Yeah.
I'm really confused how I got my own notes mixed
up.
Jamal Weeks had 2 home runs.
Yeah.
He had 22 stolen bases, 11 caught stealing, 3-0. Oh wait, no, that was last year. This year, 2 home runs, 16 stolen bases, 5 caught stealing, 50 walks, 70 strikeouts, 221 average, 135 total bases in 118 games, 98 hits, 15 doubles, 8 triples, 54 runs.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, that's much more.
I'm really confused how I got my own notes mixed up here.
Ricky Weeks!
Ricky Weeks.
I don't want Ricky Weeks. I don't like Ricky Weeks.
I'll still take him over Ackley, though.
I wouldn't. Not at this point. Ackley is such a good young talent. But comparing Ackley to Jamal, that's a bit different than...
Yeah, huge difference there. I'm really confused how I got my own notes mixed up here. That's confusing to me how I did that. Anyway, let's just move on to the next player comparison. Really,
obviously, you've been watching too many MLB memes. All the weeks passing by.
Yeah, something's wrong in my head right now.
Oh,
let's just get into the next pitcher comparison here.
Does Ricky Weeks have a Twitter?
I'm sure he does, actually.
Okay.
Hello?
No, he does not.
His profile picture is hilarious, though.
All right, so here we have another pitcher comparison. Start off with player 1, 31 games started, pitched 202 in the 3rd innings pitched, surrendered 189 hits, 79 earned runs, 18 home runs, collected 180 strikeouts to 62 walks issued, had 1 complete game, 1 shutout, strikeout to walk ratio of 2.9. Player 2, however, pitched in 34 games, pitched in 212 and a 3rd innings pitched, surrendered 200 hits, 54 walks, 82 earned runs, 18 home runs, collected 200 strikeouts, and a strikeout to walk ratio of 3.7.
I think I know player 2.
I know player 2.
Okay. Smalls, you started off. I started off first one, most second. So you know. How about you, Jared? Who would you pick?
Personally,
Jared.
Well, I already know who these players are, so they might.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to. Yeah. You would have the unfair advantage.
I'm gonna take player 2.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Interesting.
Elaborate.
Because he's a fucking boss, that's why.
All right. Please.
More strikeouts. Yeah. less walks, workhorse, who gives a shit about whip, and yeah, I have a feeling the dude on the right is a badass, so I'm gonna go with player 2.
Okay.
Mo?
Can I get an A? Oh, wait, can I ask a question before I pick?
What?
How old is player 2?
You can't know.
How am I supposed to scout somebody? I don't know their age, unless they're Dominican and they have like 8 different passports. One says they're 19, the other one says they're 30. I'm gonna go with player 2.
All right, I'll take player 1.
No!
It looks like he goes deeper into games. He started 3 less, but only 10 less innings. I like the ERA and WHIP much lower. I know that the strikeout to walk ratio is a little bit less, but I see Smalls. Yeah, that's probably your favorite stat. Right. Yeah, I'll take player 1.
Where is
Okay. I'm taking player 1 as well. Even without the complete game, still has a better innings pitched per start percentage, whatever, than player 2. Lower
I got my
ERA.
stats, but
Lower
my
ERA.
stats right here.
Seems like he has worse teammates around him. 700 runs comparison to 2. Hits a little bit less. I like that lower whip. Win percentage, like I said, doesn't much matter to me. If a player's playing on a great team, Cesar Sabathia, Max Scherzer, other players will definitely have a higher win-loss ratio. What? So, yeah, I take player 1.
Who is player 1?
Jared?
Jared just die?
Yeah, my internet just kind of farted on me right there.
Okay, so who are the 2 players?
All right, so just to note, one of these players made a huge signing this offseason.
Fuck! Frankie, isn't it?
Player 1 is the Pittsburgh Pirates' A.J. Burnett. Player 2, the Los Angeles Dodgers' latest acquisition.
God damn it! That's why I picked him! What? Motherfucker, what?
I thought it was Scherzer on the right.
No.
And I could tell it was AJ. I remember looking at his numbers.
Yeah, a couple of guys in the chat had gotten player 1 as AJ Burnett. I didn't see a lot of people getting player 2.
I knew it was Zach Greinke. That's why I picked his ass.
Okay.
So I think what's interesting about that comparison is, you know, the name value really carries a lot of weight in terms of the acquisitions and the signings.
Yeah.
Because if you look at just these numbers, which
Or
one
if you have Scott Boras.
is going to be making the better deal off season?
Probably Burnett off of only numbers, but knowing his history and his mindset, Greinke, well, both of them are kind of when it comes to mindsets, but yeah.
Greinke's a weird motherfucker.
Burnett would have.
All right, let's
I have
just
a
jump
question,
right
Noah.
in. What?
I have a question.
What?
Who is AJ Burnett's agent? Exactly. That's why he ain't getting that paper. You got to get Scott Boras on lock.
That's true.
Okay, and the last one.
The final comparison, our batters comparison to end the night.
Ooh.
209?
That might have been a mistake on my end. On the
209?
No, I don't think it was.
209?
No, that is a mistake on my end. That's supposed to be 290, not 209.
Ah!
Wait.
So this is what happens when you're rushing the graphics and don't double check your work.
How is an OPS 740 with a...
What was that?
Shouldn't it be 739 for the OPS?
I copied these stats straight off of Baseball Reference. That's the numbers they gave me.
But how is it 340 plus 399 is 740? Whatever.
It's the rounding up numbers. That's what it is.
Okay. Okay, now let's actually look at the stats instead of nitpicking.
Yeah, okay. So, player 1, 149 games played, collected 152 hits, 69 runs, 12 home runs, 53 RBIs. had 21 walks to 65 strikeouts, batted .274, 300, 419, 719 OPS, collected 232 total bases with 17 stolen bases in 20 attempts. Whereas player 2, despite what the graphic says, batted .290, 340, 399, had an OPS of 740, in 147 games played, had 167 hits, 80 runs, 7 home runs, 37 RBIs, 40 walks to 74 strikeouts, 33 stolen bases in 44 attempts. So, which player would you guys prefer?
I guess I'm starting this one off.
You
I'm picking
better.
player 2. Player 2.
Player 2.
Like the average, even at 209, I like the average. OBP of 340, definitely very important, getting on base. A lot more plate appearances. Whether that's, I don't know exactly what that means for this, just I guess maybe on a better team, whatever. Slugging percentage, lower, but more doubles machine. 167 hits in 2 less games, all more plate appearances. 80 runs, definitely scores. So, 2 less total bases, OPS plus better. Walks a bit more, strikes out a little bit more, but that's what happens when you have 50 more at-bats. And I like the stolen bases. I like being able to have a guy who's getting on base and is willing to go and take a base. So, I'll take player 2.
I agree with that. I'll take player 2 also. Higher average, on base percentage, few less home runs. Power is a big number for me, but in this case, it's only 5 home runs, and they're both not very powerful to begin with, so whatever. 33 stolen bases I like. My only concern is the caught stealing. It's 11. It's a 3-to-1 ratio versus player 1, probably a bit faster, 17-3, but I'll still take player 2.
Player 2.
Everything's kind of crashing around me right now for some reason. So everyone is unanimous. Everyone is unanimous on player 2 then?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, player 1 played for the Detroit Tigers. That was Omar Infante. Player 2 of the Houston Astros, Jose Altuve.
I knew I'd pick 630 plate appearances?
Wow.
Yep. He got to the plate a lot of times.
He must have been a leadoff hitter then, or number 2.
I believe he was their number 2. No, I think Altuve turned out to be their 3-hole hitter at some point.
And Fonte must be down in the order, must be 6, 7. So that explains that discrepancy.
Let me see.
I'd rather have Altuve.
Yes, because he's the only jersey you could purchase.
Yeah, I'll take the 4'2" midget any day of the week.
Well, that wraps up this edition. Thank you for that.
All right, so now that we're about 5 minutes off the first hour of the show, if you guys want to cut away from baseball for a brief second before we take the fan questions, would you guys like to do our Super Bowl predictions? Now or at the end of the show? Your choice.
Doesn't really
Whatever
matter.
you want, Swams.
Okay, let's do the Super Bowl predictions. I'm starting off from right to left. Mo, you go first.
Okay. Well, in my Super Bowl prediction video, I said the 49ers, but I'm going to take the Ravens.
Wow, going back on your word.
Yeah, I know. But I think the drive that the Ravens have right now, it's Ray Lewis's last year, Ed Reed's first Super Bowl. I think Flacco, being the more experienced quarterback, is going to do better than Kaepernick. I think Kaepernick is probably the better quarterback overall than Joe Flacco just because he is a dual threat. But I think that the lights might be a little bit too bright for Kaepernick in the Super Bowl. He's done great in the playoffs, but I think the Super Bowl, it's going to kind of catch up to him. I think Ray Rice is going to have a good day, even against the 49ers defense. And I think the Ravens will win 24-20.
All right, Jared, you're up.
I doubted the Ravens once this entire playoff stint. That was against the Broncos, simply because I really thought we were going to see a Broncos-Patriots finals. But I'm not doubting them anymore. I'm picking them to win the Super Bowl.
I doubted them twice, or maybe even 3 times. Probably the entire season. I'll openly admit that. I doubted them every time they went and played on the road, no matter who they played. Whether it was the Chiefs or whether it was the Patriots, every time they went on the road, I doubted them. So, except during the Patriots game, I thought the Patriots would win, but I knew that the Ravens were going to make it either a great game or take it. And as soon as they put up that damn poster in New England, I was just like,
I drove past it. I was in Boston.
Reason to them to be motivated to win.
Yeah.
That was just immature. Kaepernick cannot build momentum on his own. That is a given. He cannot do it. The only time he builds momentum is if the opposing team messes up or gets stopped. Usually if they mess up. Flacco, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions this postseason. Anquan Bolden and Torrey Smith, 2 guys who will pluck the ball out of any defender's hands no matter who they are. Torrey Smith destroyed Champ Bailey, one of the top 5 corners in the NFL, has been for the past 10 years. Absolutely obliterated him. Aqib Talib got destroyed, even though he got hurt. He got pretty badly beaten too. Kaepernick, he does have the ability to run. Neither team has played a good defense this postseason. The Broncos are not a good defense. Broncos are not a good defense. They have Von Miller, they have Bailey, and they have Doomerville. That is it. Patriots do not have a good defense. Colts do not have a good defense, as we all know. Then you go on the other side. The Packers are shit. The Falcons are not good. They don't know how to cover a tight end. And those are the only 2 teams they play.
Falcons had the number 1 defense.
Who?
Falcons.
And what?
In passing.
That's not possible. That is not possible. When
they were almost dead last in rushing, though.
On every reception Vernon Davis had, he was not covered.
It's the Falcons. They choke every fucking playoffs.
He was open by 15 yards every play. That is not a coincidence. They're the worst team against tight ends. That entire division is horrible against tight ends. Neither team has played a good defense. It's going to be a sloppy game. I'm going to say 16-13 Ravens. Smalls, you're up.
Wow. So let's break it down here. Somebody's O's got to go. 49ers 5-0 in Super Bowl history. Ravens 1-0. Harbaugh brothers are 12-0-1. The one being a draw after a bye week. And I'm going to take the Ravens to win, even though the Niners are heavily favored, in my opinion. They were 5.5 the night the championships ended. And in 2 weeks, it dropped down all the way to 3.5, and it jumped back up all the way to 4. So the Niners are getting 4 points as of right now. I think the Ravens will cover that easily. And I see him winning a very close game. It's going to come out of the final possession. I just had this dream of Kaepernick. It's going to be like 4th and goal, and with 1 second left, and Kaepernick's going to run for the win, and he's going to get fucking stopped at the 1/2 yard line by like Ed Reed or something. And that'll be the game. 27-24, I'll take the under as well. The over-under is 48 points. I'll take the under. And if my math's correct, that'd be 47. So, yes, I will take the Ravens to win every fucking bet possible. And the color of Gatorade that will be poured on the winning coach will be blue for people betting on that prop bet. Ray Lewis will cry during the national anthem. It'll be over 2 minutes and 8 seconds. And let me read. I got all the prop bets here. I got all the prop bets. Over 60 yards rushing for Ray Rice. Take that bet.
Yep.
Over under 1.5 receptions for Jacoby Jones. What do you guys think?
Over.
Okay, that's an easy bet.
Over for Randy Moss.
Who will win the coin toss?
Who gives a fuck?
The AFC is
whoever picks tails.
They won 13 in a row before last year.
Who?
The AFC won 13 in a row before last year.
I say whoever picks tails.
And then first player to score, I put Dennis Pita is a 12-1 for the first player to score in the game. 12-1. I'm taking Dennis Pita to have the first score of the game.
I think Jacoby Jones could get it off kickoff. We all know how bad
he's at 9.5-1. The Akers and Tucker are both 1.5-1. They're thinking field goal to start off the game.
Okay.
Ravens.
Any others?
Do you want me to pull up some more prop bets? How long the Super Bowl show will take? More than 14 minutes and 43 seconds?
I'll say it'll be 17 minutes.
Okay. And we already covered the Gatorade color. Flacco will have over under 1 interception. 1.5 interceptions, that's to say.
Under.
Yeah, under.
Oh, and I say red just like in Madden for the Gatorade.
Colin Kaepernick will have more rushing yards than passing yards.
Yeah.
Is a 8-1 bet.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think he's going to be forced to because the Ravens tend to
8-1. It means for $100 you win 800 back.
Yeah, I'd say he's going to get more rushing and passing.
That's pretty nuts. And Ray Lewis will have over under 14.5 tackles.
Over.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And
16 tackles.
the rest are just elementary. For the defensive player to score, Ed Reed is the highest.
Oh, that's...
Ed Reed is the highest. He's the most favored at returning something back. That's it. Yeah. All right. Jared looks really interested, so we're gonna move on.
All right. So 4-0 Ravens.
Drinks his Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Okay. So
we're gonna come back next Saturday. All right. Who saw the Niners fucking dick slap the Ravens? 41-3.
This is not the Cowboys versus the Bills. It's not happening.
Which was at.
I don't know.
At the Rose Bowl.
I wasn't born.
It was at the.
I wasn't alive for that.
I want to see a good Super Bowl. I want it to end just like the '99 one, Titans Rams.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Kaepernick's gonna go for the reach and he's gonna get fucking bombarded off.
Yeah. Too bad Steve McNair didn't win that, but whatever.
And now he's in a better place.
Okay, so let's get into the fan questions. Because
questions?
We just spent about 12 minutes on.
No one cares. No one's going to watch.
That are going to bet tonight.
We have 28 viewers right now. It was like at 12 when we started that. So I mean,
how many viewers do we have right now?
28.
All I see is a big fat nothing.
Right, I'm gonna look at more Super Bowl prop bets.
Okay, guys, ask us your questions. We're here.
The YouTube comment section is working perfectly tonight. I'm seeing
refresh the page.
Kind of pop in at random intervals now.
Refresh the page.
Well, let's see if that actually
wins
works.
MVP award. Damn you and your sources, Smalls.
What happened?
AP won the MVP.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Damn you and your sources.
Over under 6 seconds for the post game hug/handshake.
I'd say it's about. Well, if Ray Lewis is involved, I'd say about 20.
No, between Harbaugh and Harbaugh.
I think Ray Lewis is just going to jump on them.
It was 7.5, and it dropped all the way down to 6. People think
it's going to be over 6. It's going to be over 6. One's going to be.
Let's see. Alicia Keys' national anthem. It's already down to 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Actually, people are betting for it to be longer.
Okay.
You can also bet if she's
so many
booed.
bets?
Plus 500 if she's booed. 5-1 if she's booed. 2-1 if she forgets a word. And 2-1 if she adds a new word. If she just invents a word.
Las Vegas is really just trying to milk everyone out of every red cent that they have.
Yeah. You do realize that the Super Bowl is the most bet.
Oh, I realize that, and that's why they have these prop bets. I understand.
You better. 2.5-1. Jay-Z shows up at Beyonce's halftime show.
Yeah, I bet he will.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good bet.
What predominant color will Beyonce's top at the beginning of the Super Bowl halftime show be? Black is leading the way at 9-4. Green is a 15-1. Blue is a 15-1. Any predictions on the color of her dress?
Watch it be white just to fuck with everyone.
That's the 5-1.
Oh God! Wait, what's the worst? What's the worst one?
Green, 15-1.
It'll be green.
Just so Jay-Z can make like $15 million.
Yep.
Who will be shown first during the game? Will it be Jim Harbaugh 1-1, John Harbaugh, or a split screen shot of both?
It's going to be a split screen shot of both.
Or
it's going to be Ray Lewis.
Who will the Super Bowl MVP of the game think first? Teammates at 6-5, God at 5-2, coach 12-1, family 12-1, owner 20-1, does not think anyone at 3-2.
What?
Yeah, the favorite is he doesn't thank anybody. If Ray Lewis
Ray
wins
Lewis
it,
wins.
you know he's going to thank God first.
Yep.
Yeah.
If Ray Lewis is interviewed on TV after the game on the field or in the locker room, how many times will he mention God/Lord? The over-under is 3 right now. It's down from 5. Means a lot of people are thinking he's going to be under.
I don't understand.
I'm seriously reading these off my betting account.
There's something so wrong with this.
Well, you wanted to bring up Super Bowl. I mean, no one's watching the thing tomorrow.
Yeah,
Of course not. It's not the most viewed event in history or anything.
Everyone's going to be, too glued to their television set to see what's going on with the NHL.
Here's a good one. Will Randy Moss retire at the end of the game? -300 for yes, which is a 1-3, or a 2-1. He says no.
I think Ed Reed, and Ray Lewis will all retire.
Ed Reed is a 3-1. A lot of people saying he's going to come back.
I think those three, win or lose, if it's a heartbreaker for either one, they're done.
I think if they win it, they're done.
Actually, you know what? I think Ed Reed will retire either way because they won't be the same team next year without Ray Lewis.
I think
Randy Moss might want to.
Ed Reed might go to the Patriots.
That'd be interesting. Randy Moss might want one more shot if they lose because the 49ers are a very good young team. So.
Odds to win the MVP: Colin Kaepernick at 8-5, Joe Flacco 11-4, Ray Lewis 7-1, and Delaney Walker is a 100-1 to win the Super Bowl MVP.
You know what?
Alex Smith is a 75-1 favorite to win the Super Bowl MVP.
He is more than Delaney Walker. Are you kidding me?
Because a lot of people are thinking that Bernard Pollard is going to absolutely decapitate Colin Kaepernick, like he does to everybody.
I hate Bernard Pollard so very much.
He's a 75-1 favorite to win the odds to win the MVP.
Torrey Smith is going to win the MVP.
Torrey Smith is a 20-1.
Torrey Smith's going to win it.
Ed Reed is a 33-1.
What's Bolden?
Anquan Bolden is a 16-1.
Yeah.
What about Ray Rice?
Ray Rice is a 12-1.
Wow. I doubt he'll get it. What about Vernon Davis? He's probably like a 6-1.
Vernon Davis is not even on the list.
What?
He falls under the... Oh, there he is. He is a 18-1.
Okay.
Too many names.
Yeah.
Coin toss, doesn't matter. Team scores first.
Where's David Akers? Where's David Akers on that list?
David Akers to score first?
No, for the MVP. Is he even on the list?
He would be under Field, which is a 22-1.
What's so funny, Jared?
I'm trying to read up on the comments here. That's all.
I think we stalled enough. Any good
Yeah, I mean, they have everything. Total quarterback sacks, total first downs, longest successful field goal at 44.5. It is in a dome, so...
Longest successful field goal will be over 44.5. It's going to be a 50-yarder. Tucker.
It's in a dome.
Tucker, 50 yards. Akers is going to miss, even though he's hit.
Will Ed Reed intercept a pass? It's a 3-1 that he will be intercepting a pass. They don't think he will intercept a pass this game.
I don't think Kaepernick's going to throw it over the top to Ed Reed anywhere near him. I think
he will decapitate somebody.
If anybody's going to get it,
somebody will be seriously injured.
Wait, what? What are the odds?
Oh, that somebody gets knocked out for the game?
Yeah.
3-1 that somebody gets injured and leaves the game.
Well, I think it's a guarantee that somebody's going to get injured and leave the game.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, Bernard Pollard's on one team. Just everybody on the 49ers.
Oh, my God. They got cross-sports parlays.
What? What?
Which will be higher? LeBron James rebounds and assists tomorrow versus the Toronto Raptors, or Ray Lewis's tackles and assists from Super Bowl 47?
Probably LeBron. I think that's pretty much a guarantee.
You're saying he's going to have more rebounds and assists than
Well, he's
Ray
been
Lewis.
averaging 9 and 8 for the past, 20 games? So, I mean, even at 16, I think.
And in the realm of totally fucking random, total goals in Manchester City versus Liverpool on Sunday, or Randy Moss's receptions, Super Bowl 47.
Randy Moss's receptions. They're going to give him the ball.
Yeah,
If they're smart, they'll give him the ball.
Kobe Bryant's points tomorrow, or Randy Moss receiving yards.
I think that goes along the same lines as if Randy Moss gets one
Kobe ain't
reception.
scoring anymore.
What?
So, Kobe doesn't score anymore.
Yeah, who are the Lakers playing? They're playing the...
They're playing the Pistons.
The Pistons? Kobe doesn't need to score. They're not going to get it. Okay. Let's digress from all this betting nonsense because...
I just lost $45,000 in that situation right there. So.
Two of the people in this thing can't even bet yet legally.
Great.
So, questions, Jared?
Yes. Before we jump into the questions, I do have to apologize for some of my mistakes earlier that a lot of people were pointing out. The AJ Burnett graphic also had an error on it. It's not a 3.05 ERA that apparently was left over from when I did the graphic for the Cliff Lee and CC Sabathia.
No.
So, yeah, that really messed up the and I didn't catch it in time. I actually looked back on my notes and saw a lot of people were pointing out that mistake as well. The platoon thing earlier that we talked about, someone had to remind us that it's actually when players are splitting time at a position. It's not playing multiple positions. It's splitting time with another player. So those are our erratas of the night.
Omissions, whatever they say for the end of PTI, errors and omissions.
Yes.
Yeah, Tony
so
Reale.
let's get into these questions. I see there was one I just saw, and of course now the chat wants to refresh to actually bump it down.
Wow.
Here's the question: who has the best farm system in baseball?
Best farm system. Jared, why don't you start? You haven't talked in a while.
I've always been very fond of the Diamondbacks farm system, but recently I found out that there's been a lot going on quietly going on with the St. Louis Cardinals organization that I think kind of makes them one of the more underrated systems in baseball. And oddly enough, I don't understand why, considering these past couple of years they've turned out quite a lot of talent.
Oh yeah.
That a lot of scouts, I should say, just didn't see as being as big a influence on a winning team's schedule. Then I'm at a loss. I did see I think 2 weeks ago now a news article on Bleacher Report that kind of broke it down, and it always comes back to Bleacher Report and my hate for them, and this was the reason I hated them. They kind of overrated certain farm systems and underrated a lot of others. And the number one that they came across was the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, I've been following the Pirates for almost 6 years now, I think, maybe 5. And I like what they're doing with their farm system, but I wouldn't say it's anywhere near top 5 just yet.
I was looking at the Cardinals a few days ago because they were saying that they were still in the market for a middle infielder, preferably a shortstop.
Yes.
And I looked at their team, and I looked at all their young players. I mean, here are the players that they've had that they've made into really good players. Jay, Craig, Freeze. Then you have Cosma, who's pretty good. You have Jaime Garcia, and they just re-signed Scrabble today, Mark Respekovich or however you pronounce his name. And then I looked at their organization. They had Tavares, who's a top outfielder. I think they had the number 2 second baseman, a number 3 first baseman in the minor leagues, and they had like 7 or 8 pitchers in their top 20 prospects. I mean, they're filling in every gap that they need in a very organized way of just pitcher here, then a player, then a pitcher, then a pitcher, then a pitcher, then a player. Very well done, and a lot of top players in all of those ranks. And I looked at other teams and I was like, wow, they really did a good job of it. So I completely agree that the St. Louis Cardinals have the current best. Second best, I don't really have one at the moment. I mean, there are some teams that have some top players. I think the Mariners have some pretty good players going on. I don't know if they're the best, but I think the Cardinals are way out in front with a lot of stockpiled talent that will be seen in the next few seasons.
Mo? Smalls?
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals definitely have an underrated farm system. I mean, can't discount the Rays. They always seem to be pumping out out great young pitchers, young players. Now they have Will Myers, of course. Mets, good farm system. I know a lot about them personally because I'm a Mets fan. But, yeah.
That was another one I saw in the Bleacher Report that got a bit overrated. I think they put them closer to top 5 when I feel that they're definitely top 10, but I don't understand how anyone could read Bleacher Report and take anything that's said there seriously. That's just me.
Yeah, I don't really take much.
Did we lose Smalls again?
No, I think he just had to go for a second.
Okay. So how would you guys rate? What's your top 5 farm systems at the moment?
Probably Cardinals, Mariners, maybe Braves. If you want to consider Teheran still part of that, probably maybe.
No, he's still considered one of their top prospects.
Okay, so then probably him. Then I might go towards Baltimore, and maybe, and then I'd say Tampa. Baltimore could be exchanged for some other teams. I haven't looked past the top few.
So no Diamondbacks or Rangers?
The Rangers, they have a few good. Profar, Alt. I do like some of their pitchers, but their pitchers look like they're going to get hurt from what I've seen. Just the way their mechanics. The Diamondbacks are probably my 6th. I think I could swap them out with the Orioles. Just because
I'm not too high on the Orioles organization's farm system. I think a lot of people kind of overrated just a little bit.
I think a lot of losing seasons has helped them get a lot of good young players.
Oh, they have some phenomenal talent down there. I just think it's not up to par with some of the other organizations we've kind of already glossed over.
My entire basis for them is if Manny Machado still counts as a.
Wow. Yeah, he still counts. I mean, it's not a guarantee he'll be starting next year.
So I think with him, I put them at 4 because Machado is such a great player.
Okay. All right. So since we already kind of talked about the Orioles and their farm system just now, I noticed a couple of people have asked this about Dylan Bundy. So anyone have any thoughts that they would like to share about Dylan Bundy? How they feel he's going to pan out? Do they think he's going to start next season?
Sweet ass name.
I don't think they're going to start him necessarily at the beginning of the year. I think they might start him off in a reliever role, and if somebody goes down, they might throw him in 1 or 2 starts. They have a lot of depth at that position. A lot of depth. They also have Zach Britton and Jake Arrieta that they could throw in there at any time. So I don't think they have the need to necessarily give him that starting job, but
my take is I think a lot of people are kind of forgetting that baseball is a lot different in terms of developing young talent as compared to other sports where you have kids who are drafted straight out of college moving into the onto the court almost immediately in basketball or straight onto the field in football. With baseball, there's all these layers that you have to kind of go through to kind of help develop you to get ready both mentally and physically for Major League Baseball. And one thing that I had to remind myself, Dylan Bundy was only a 19-year-old kid last season. This year he's going to be a 20-year-old man.
Wow.
And he's only got Double-A experience that you could really point to that would help lend some credibility towards his push in the majors. So, and not to take anything away, I mean, but you only have 3 games under your belt in Double-A. You're going to get exposed, really quickly in the majors. So I think.
I'm sorry. What is Bundy's position?
He is a pitcher.
20-year-old pitcher. Yikes.
Yeah. It's going to be tough. I mean. With pitchers, you always want to carry a bit of caution with them because their livelihood is based upon their arm strength, and in today's more health conscious society, you do want to kind of bring them along slowly, especially when you're considering someone that hasn't fully developed into their body. So with Bundy, I think a lot of expectations about him starting in the major leagues, especially late into next season. I think that's kind of played up a bit too much. I think what a lot of people have to expect is this is a kid that is going to come along slowly. I think they only brought him up last season out of necessity more so than he was actually tearing it up in lower.
But he did well. He did well.
I mean, it was only his first year in the minor league system, so
yeah.
I think rushing him might, it could go either way in terms of if he's major league ready now, because a lot of guys are built differently, and a lot of guys tend to work out differently. That helps them come along quicker than others. But I don't see Bundy coming up. Maybe late August or September next year. That's about it. I don't see him coming out of spring training with a starting job. I don't see him coming out of spring training even out of the bullpen.
I think that the fact that he got that time in the majors towards the end of the season, he's going to go back to AAA and he's going to destroy the talent that he sees for the most part, unless they're guys who are major league level, which there are, but that need to work their way up a little bit. But I think that if he's been able to work major leaguers who are the best of the best, that step down will definitely help inflate his numbers towards next season in AAA, and then it might even get him to the major league sooner before he's ready. Mo, what do you think?
Yeah, to the stats I've seen about Bundy, he looks pretty good. He posted, I believe it was a 2.08 ERA last year, went 9-3. I think he'll do pretty good. He'll start the season in the minors, hopefully come up and contribute.
Fair enough. Smalls, what do you think?
I have no anything about Dylan Bundy except he's got a badass name. And, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's harder for a pitcher. You don't want to bring a guy that quick. He's not going to be like a Manny Machado who you could just bring up and he'll do his thing. And third baseman's different. I'd hold off. We'll see. What team is he? What system is he in?
Orioles. Same system as Machado.
Oh, they know what they're doing. He'll be up when he's ready.
Buck will make sure that he is well taken care of.
At least he's not like on the Cubs. They'll just throw him up just to throw him up, and see what happens.
No, the Cubs are one of those teams that tends to be a bit reluctant on their farm system for some reason. I think it's because they invested so much in building a win now system that they're starting to realize that they've kind of neglected their farm system a little bit and haven't been really successful in turning out superstars out of it. Like I think Starlin Castro is probably the only star that they have left that came out of that system that still is considered a highly valuable player today.
Yeah. I wonder when they started that, when they realized that they weren't winning now.
Yeah, there is no win now left in Chicago.
There's
over
no
there
win now since 03.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They have been a team that has been struggling, to get their farm system stocked up with talent because they kind of forfeited a lot of draft picks to sign some of these big name free agents that they've been carrying around for way too long. And honestly, the biggest thing that hurt them the most was they overpaid for a lot of those free agents.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. We have some other questions here.
Oh, one question, because we were talking a lot about the Cubs. We mentioned the Cubs at the end. Aramis Ramirez has played on 3 teams in the NL Central. Over under a fourth.
Pirates, Cubs.
Pirates, Cubs, Brewers. After his contract, could he go to the Reds or the Cardinals?
I could see him going to the Reds.
I think there is a need for a third baseman on Cincinnati right now.
Yeah.
Do you think
I can see the
there
Reds
when his contract is up?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just thought I'd throw that out there, or maybe even trade him, considering he was traded from Pittsburgh to Chicago, which was one of
but that's Pittsburgh. They trade everybody.
Yeah, but that was one of those rare interdivision trades. I mean, in the division trades.
But I don't see those as being all that rare.
Well, out of big name players, yeah.
Mike Piazza to the Mets.
He was on the, wasn't he?
Dodgers.
Nope.
He was on the
Marlins.
Yeah, he played a very short time. But the Marlins are the Marlins. We already covered Loria.
They're the Marlins. They traded Miguel Cabrera for a bag of chips.
A bag of chips they were really, really interested in.
He wanted those bag of chips really fucking bad.
It was the new spicy hot Doritos before they were on the market. Okay.
Well, I totally completely forgot about this question. I was trying to look it back up, but thankfully this guy just has repeated the question again. Which teams have the best home field advantage, National League and American League, and most loyal fans?
Ooh, most loyal fans, St. Louis, #1, without a doubt.
I would argue after this past season, what we saw with San Francisco, they have probably the most loyal fans of them all.
No.
I can't say that. When you're
They
winning,
practically stuffed the ballot, for the All-Star break just for all Giants players, regardless of how bad or good they were.
That's because they already won a World Series. That means they're bandwagoners. Half the people who voted for them.
No.
No, when teams win World Series, they have a lot more fans than they should. Cardinals fans, when they're up or down, have always been there.
Cardinals fans applaud the opposing team when they do something good.
Yeah, that is true.
That for me is a good fan because he'll be like, "Wow, that's a great play." I'm like, "Oh shit," you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
Dodgers pulling $3 million a year. That's all I'm saying. 3 million fans go to Dodger Stadium a year. That's tops.
Okay, who thinks most loyal, and then we'll go to home field.
Like I said, I already laid out the argument that I think the Giants have proven they have the most loyal fan base out there.
Okay, Mo?
Definitely Cardinals.
All right, and Smalls, you got your Dodgers?
We would stab a motherfucker for the Dodgers. We kill people for the Dodgers. Enough said. If they're willing to go to jail and sit in a cell for life for the Dodgers, no argument. That's loyalty. They're like Raider fans.
That is
Raider
true.
fans are crazy. Same thing with Ravens fans. People are crazy.
Ravens fans are awesome.
Well, let's flip it up a little bit then. How about least loyal fans? Who do you think's got the worst fan system out there?
Marlins.
Can you blame them now?
Even with their talent, as soon as they stop winning World Series, their attendance goes from 40 million out of an $80 million stadium to like 40,000 to like 4,000. It's just horrible.
Yeah, that's the Marlins.
I've always been, really, really vocal against the Atlanta fan base for decades, simply because despite what kind of team they put on the field that produces, they just don't show up.
But baseball, it doesn't seem like baseball is the sport for Atlanta. It just doesn't seem.
Well, it's not the sport in Florida either, and that's why the Marlins have always suffered in attendance-wise, and the Rays are suffering attendance-wise.
Florida, I mean, baseball is not a Florida. I mean, yeah, Florida is not a baseball state; it's a college football state.
Yeah.
And Atlanta is just everything else.
Which it shocks me because every fucking Cuban I know plays baseball.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that Miami isn't as poppin' as it should be.
Yeah.
They need a name. They need like A-Rod would be perfect for the Marlins.
They need a different name too. They just need something different there, and probably start with ownership.
They need new. Well, that's a gimme. They need new ownership. They need new owners. Let's see. The worst attendance is Tampa Bay. Last year was the worst.
Yeah.
Sadly, Cleveland was number 29th in attendance, and I remember when those guys used to sell out every single game.
I don't know what happened. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, they were on a streak that every game was sold out.
Yeah, I remember that. I think it was when they lost CeCe and when Sizemore kept getting hurt. That I think it was just a straight downhill plummet of all of their top talent just went down.
Houston at 28.
Wow, that's incredible.
Oakland at 27.
That's pathetic. That is just absolutely pathetic.
They got a disgusting stadium. First off,
they do, but
Seattle 26th.
They have a nice stadium, very nice stadium.
Kansas City 25th.
Well, it's expected when losing teams are there. That's why I'm surprised that the A's are.
I think a lot of it tends to be that there's a losing culture with some of these teams where they just haven't had any kind of success in recent years.
But the White Sox at 24.
That one probably more due to the fact that White Sox aren't really all that exciting to watch.
Well,
and the fact that their stadium is in one of the worst cities in the country.
Yeah.
And it's a Cubs town. Yeah, and it's a Cubs town.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess. Even though the White Sox, I think, came first. No, the Cubs. Cubs. I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're both same time period. Um, what about what team? What team did Padres? Padres seem like they have an
21st.
empty stadium. 21st?
Because they got a huge ass stadium. That's why.
Yeah.
Always seems like it's empty.
Number 1 was Philadelphia. Number 2 was the Yanks. Number 3 was the Rangers. Number 4 was the Giants. And number 5 was the Los Angeles Dodgers. Number 6, St. Louis.
Okay. What about the Pirates?
I think they're more middle of the road.
Pittsburgh. They're 22nd.
Yeah.
They average 26,000 a game.
So for such a beautiful stadium, that's a shame. And
Compared to the Dodgers, who average 41.
I think it's again it's the losing mentality that circles around a franchise that hurts their drawing ability at the ballpark.
It also helps the fact that New York, Los Angeles are big cities.
Big cities.
Yeah, of course.
So, okay.
San Francisco, though, top 4.
Home
Not a
field
big
advantage.
city.
Home field advantage.
Number 6, St. Louis. Not a big city, but good fans.
Good fans. Great city. Horrible suburbs. Horrible.
Number 9, Detroit.
Detroit's a interesting place.
They got a good team to watch, though. So.
They do. Okay. But
Moving on.
most home field advantage. Pick a team. Because that's kind of hard to judge for baseball.
Home
It
field
is.
advantage?
Yeah.
That shit goes out the window once the playoffs start, man.
Yeah.
It's
How
like
about
hockey.
regular-
Like there's no home field advantage.
How about regular season?
I don't think there is much for one in baseball. Period. I don't see a lot of players, worried too much about the fan involvement so much as they are worried about the field and the dimensions that they have to contest with.
Yeah. I think the thing, if this was 5 years ago, I would say Minnesota. Because that roof, that is the biggest advantage a team could have in baseball. Because you lose it in that roof. Everybody lost in that roof, except for Torrey Hunter.
Surprisingly.
I mean, he was still a fantastic player, multi-time Gold Glover out in Minnesota. He just knew where the ball was. He could tell the difference in color, I guess, off the roof, which is incredible. But I'd say that was the biggest home field advantage there's been in a
If you
very
believe
long
it, the
time.
Yankees had the best home record last year.
I could see that.
Yeah.
They only hit home runs.
Detroit, Oakland, Washington, Cincinnati, all tied for the best home record. I mean, for the second best home record.
I think
and
home field
Texas.
home field goes along with the most loyal fans,
St. Louis.
but loyal to their team alone. Like,
Oh, you mean like teams that travel well?
kind of like this. Like, you have a team that does really well at home because of the fact that their fans support them extremely well, but they don't support the opposing team. Kind of like Philly, very hostile environment to be in.
Yeah. Even though
especially
Philly
for
had a better
rivals.
road record last year,
Wait, who?
the Phillies had a better road record than a home record last year.
Yeah. It's just a hostile place to play. It's hard to base advantage. It's not football. It's not basketball. It's not basketball when they have those clapping things behind the people for.
Honestly, I would think a place like Seattle or Colorado would be the hardest for an away team because have you guys been to Coors?
Nah, I haven't been
No.
either.
Well, if you just fly in, you got to fly into the airport. Then it takes an hour to get from the airport to like a team hotel. I think it's harder for basketball because they do back-to-backs.
Yeah.
But if you're a team flying in, there's no way you're going to win that game. Like if you play on a Thursday, flew out, and get in there Friday morning at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning to play a 7 o'clock game,
Yeah.
there's no way you're winning that.
There's a reason why Denver's 20-3 at home this season.
And then I would think a place like Seattle. I mean, it's the farthest to travel, especially for an East Coast team. You got to travel all the way out. That's the hardest.
Yeah, I could see that. I definitely.
But the problem is the Mariners fans aren't like Sonics fans, or the Seattle Sonics were there, where they would be on top of you the whole game.
Yeah.
It's not like St. Louis is I think would be the best. If I wanted to play at home, it'd be St. Louis. I'd hate to go there to play.
Except you get a nice cheer every time you did something nice. So
That's true. I'd be scared if I was a fan going to Dodger Stadium. Maybe that's an advantage.
I had to pose as a Phillies fan when I went to a Mets-Phillies game. You do
Why?
not
You're gonna
that
get
kind of Phillies
jabbed?
game. Even a little kid, they'll throw stuff at you.
Yeah. When I went to Padres Dodgers, which has gotten worse than Giants Dodgers. They were just hassling the guy like right next, like a row in front, like a row behind me and shit. I was like, "Hey, you lost, motherfucker!" Like, oh shit, it's 7 o'clock. It's like 6:30. These guys barely got there and they're already starting. Like, oh god. They haven't even started drinking. Well, they probably tailgated, which is illegal here, but
I think it's legal pretty much everywhere.
is that a standard in every MLB stadium?
It might be. I know tailgating's not looked up at.
I think at the A's games you can tailgate because it's still a football stadium. Not going to make a difference when there's 6,000 people there on a Wednesday afternoon game.
Okay, Jared, any more questions you found?
Oh yeah, we got a ton.
I think I disgusted Jared today. He just has that.
It's been a rough 3 days for me, so I'm kind of zoning in and out. I don't know if my brain is just actively trying to protest against me.
Nice.
I had seen this question earlier. Here it is. Which is one GM you would praise for their works on their franchise?
Billy Bean.
Yeah, Billy Bean, number one. No matter what. Over Theo Epstein for what he did for Boston.
Theo Epstein had an open checkbook. That's why.
Yeah, and he also learned from Billy Bean.
True.
I mean, they brought him in 2004, and he had the same style as Billy Bean.
Trying to think of a guy. Maybe Baltimore's GM.
No, not the way they've been playing for the past
really done a whole lot.
decade and a half.
Coletti, no.
I think the Tigers.
Even though Coletti has done some money moves in the past, bringing in Manny.
I think the Tigers for swindling the Marlins out of Miguel Cabrera.
I think we know who the worst GM in the league is.
Well, I think Laurie made that decision. I don't know if their GM did.
Their GM is basically just a puppet. It's always going to be a puppet.
Yeah. Jeffrey Laurie needs to die. He needs to get away
Maybe
from
not.
baseball.
He just needs to find a new hobby. Maybe go to.
No, he's not gonna sell the team.
He doesn't
He's
need
making
money.
too much money off of it. He just needs to die.
He should go to the NBA. Profit sharing.
They don't want him.
He'll take co-ownership of the Grizzlies.
I'm very fond of Alex Anthopoulos in Toronto. I think he's really changed the entire culture out there and
He's
really
definitely
put
done a
on.
pretty good job.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job.
He's brought Canada baseball back to at least a decent standing. Yeah, pretty much.
I got one. What about Artie Moreno out in Anaheim?
You know, that is an interesting
How
one.
long has he been there?
He was there since the championship win.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
thing
broke a
with him-
42-year drought for them. So
No, but I think that was more of I think it was more of a gamble because they knew that there were going to be some free agents coming along the pipeline that they needed to start saving money for, and that's an organization that has typically kind of shown signs that they're not willing to spend money, and lately they have been coming out and spending money. I think it's
Everybody in LA is spending money, man.
he slapped
It's the Dodgers,
he
the
slapped
Lakers,
Los
the
Angeles on the
Clippers.
team.
I mean, they kicked out Francisco Rodriguez when he wanted more money, and he was the best closer at the time.
Ended up being a great move.
Yeah, it turned out to be a great move because they saved a lot of money to sign Albert Pujols.
CJ Wilson.
which has done pretty good job. You know, I mean, think about the talent that they've had over time and how they got rid of them just at the point when they were about to tail off.
Vladimir Guerrero.
They had Vlad after he started in Montreal, right? Vlad.
Yeah, Vlad was
That was-
an expo.
Yeah, I knew that. I just never see any highlights of him from there.
There's not a whole
they
lot of
had-
highlights to highlight for the Expos. You know, that's a
had
franchise
Jim
that a lot of people would kind of like to forget.
Except if you're in the 1993 lockout year.
93, 94, yeah.
94, yeah.
They did well in 93 as well. But Jim Edmonds, Darren Erstad, Garrett Anderson, Vlad Guerrero, Tim Salmon, Troy Gloss in that 2002 World Series, huge role. I mean, Troy Percival was a big name back then. Lackey was a big name in that World Series. I mean, these guys, they made into something, and they got rid of some of them Edmonds still was a great player after his time in Anaheim.
Just look at who they basically let walk out. They got rid of Teixeira. They let go of Sean Figgins. They didn't even bother trying to resign him. Lackey was another one that they signed that they let go. They traded off Joe Saunders. You know, there was a lot of moves there that were basically financial decisions to try and stock up cash for these players that they have now acquired, and I think that's definitely something you got to take into account when you look at those dead years that they had.
Yeah, and you also have to take into account the fact that they cut off this dead weight before they were dead weight, and that's a great just view of the future for for these players, that they could see that these guys were tailing off. Whether they could have fixed it or not is not debatable because they got rid of them and that was that. But I think that's a great sign that a GM is good, that they know when to get rid of people before they start looking like a Jason Bay.
Yeah, another GM I think doesn't get a lot of praise at all. Neil Huntington for the Pirates.
I think he's only done well in the past 2 years.
I'd say he's done well for the past 4 years I've been following, maybe even longer.
3 years ago, Paul Maholm was the highest paid player on that team.
Yeah, that wasn't his contract.
At $5 million.
That wasn't his contract.
They just every year they would trade off everybody.
Yeah, hey, what's McCutcheon's contract right now?
He is an arbitration eligible for another year. I actually think this is the year he's going to be arbitration eligible.
He's going to get good money.
He's going to get good money.
They can't long stroke him, dude. They got to give him a good deal.
If they keep him, I mean, this is the first real player that they've had in a while that they have the chance.
We'll give you Carl Crawford. Or Andre Ethier. Andre Ethier and Juan Uribe.
You wouldn't give up Andre Ethier.
For McCutcheon? You know, that seems like
but
Kutch and Kemp are best friends.
That is true.
That would be an interesting outfield, Kemp and McCutcheon, to be honest.
Kutch is at every fucking Clipper game in the offseason.
Yeah, McCutcheon signed an extension, though.
Did he?
Did he? I wasn't aware that he had signed an extension.
Yeah, in March, 6 years, $51.5 million.
There it is.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
One?
We'll still give you Andre Ethier and Juan Uribe, though. I mean, it's Juan Uribe. He's a beast.
He can be. He put on those extra 80 pounds, looks like Mo Vaughn.
I'm telling you, he's a platoon player. He'll give you about a 209 batting average, and maybe he'll hit a double.
You're lucky to get a 170 out of him.
He'll give you a double.
He'll give you a double.
If you're lucky, he might give you a triple. If somebody just completely misjudges the line drive, you might get a triple.
Not the hot dog vendors.
You might get a triple, and he might slide head first, but he'll completely miss the base. He'll slide and he'll just be stuck. He won't even be to the base.
Okay, I think we covered the GM.
Yeah, we did.
Juan Uribe for Hall of Fame.
Let's start the campaign now.
We'll start the campaign now, 7 years from now when he's eligible.
Don Estes, bro.
Oh, boy.
He's our future.
I'm still high on Sex on Fame.
What about Jose Cruz Jr., bro?
Oh.
No, I can't. I just can't support. Not even jokingly can I support.
That guy's a beat.
I can go after Estes. I can go after Richie Sexton, who's actually kind of decent.
Richie!
Okay, next question. Let's just
all right, let's see. What do we have here? Which MLB player has the most approved in 2013?
Has the most to prove in 2013? I think Zach Greinke. He's in one of the toughest markets that he's going to ever be in. He has a depressive anxiety disorder, and he just got a huge deal. I mean, he bounced around from Milwaukee to Anaheim to Los Angeles within 7 months. I mean, he has the most to prove for a team that wants to win right now with a very critical fan base.
They better win.
Say exactly, critical fan base right there.
They better win, or I'm gonna say so. I know where Zach Greinke lives. He just bought a house in Manhattan Beach. I know exactly where he is.
So
I'm gonna go pay him a visit.
I think Greinke is the number one that needs to prove something.
That's fair. I'm gonna stay in LA. I'm gonna say Mike Trout though. This year is going to be the year that he proves if he's for real or not. Did great this year, but can he keep up the power numbers? The speed's going to stay, but the power and the average is really going to be the key for him this year.
The $300 million man.
Jared, Smalls, what do you think? Most to prove.
I got a lot of names rolling off in the back of my head right now, and I'm trying to pick out one that I think desperately needs 2013 to be a big year for them. And I'm kind of circling. I know Greinke's going to have a lot, but I think he's got a lot of slack because he doesn't have to carry that rotation. He's going to be their number 2 guy behind
Kershaw.
Kershaw, yeah, thank you. I think
he's behind Ryu.
Yeah, is he really going to pitch behind Ryu? I
No.
thought
But Ryu's music's going to be the Gangnam Style. So that's
I don't know. I think I'm leaning more towards. I think it's going to probably be Josh Hamilton. I think he wants to.
That was mine. That was mine.
Yeah, I see a lot with him in terms of all the backlash he's going to get from the Rangers fans for how he left the team.
Mm-hmm.
I see he's got a lot of. I think he might have a bit of a chip on his shoulder now and might want to show that all those speculations about how durable he is. And whether or not he could still be a big contributing factor on a team might be enough to kind of drive him to better numbers than what we saw out of him last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so continue your thought.
Yeah, Josh Hamilton seems to me, as a whole, the Dodgers hitting needs to show up this year because last September, I think they hit 1 home run. Mark McGwire needs to do something. Dave Hansen is gone. Mark McGwire in. The whole team's got to do something. Josh Hamilton, like he said. And what Greinke and Hamilton were the 2 biggest ones, if I'm not mistaken, right? They're the 2 biggest signings.
Yeah.
Do you think Rafael Soriano needs to prove anything?
No, I don't think there's anything.
I don't think anyone cares about him enough.
I think he got the perfect deal. I mean, it's like the perfect money, perfect everything.
Yeah.
What about Dickey?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is.
All right, Dickey.
But his expectations are lowered because he's all the way up in Toronto.
No, I don't think. I think.
And he's got a stacked rotation.
He does. He does. So there's a lot of slack for those guys up there because they can help each other out.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah, but he's got to prove that that it was worth it for the Blue Jays to give up 2 of their top prospects for him.
Not necessarily. If they win the East, or if they win a playoff series, and R.A. Dickey was 8-11 for the year, nobody's going to remember.
True.
That is true.
Well, they will remember if we win 8-11. But if you went like an average year, 13-10, nothing too crazy, solid, like 4th spot.
If he pitches anywhere, near a low 3 or even under that, he's already proven his worth, to the team.
Especially
in that division.
Win-loss record means nothing. Let's just throw that out of the window for that division.
I agree.
I think how he does overall, ERA-wise, strikeout or walk, hits, that type of stuff, how his knuckleball works, because it's a knuckleball. It's not like you're throwing a fastball a little bit too high and it's tailing. It's a damn knuckleball. I mean, if you can fool enough batters and you can get your team wins, no matter how many wins you get, as long as you're productive for your team, going late into games like he can, I think that'll help. He'll help his rotation where some of the guys can't go 8 innings, 7 innings every start. They can go 5, 6. So, I mean, I think he'll definitely, if he can go late into games and be productive enough, I think he'll prove his worth. Now, I have a question.
Is Toronto the only dome left?
No.
No.
Houston
Tampa,
has
right?
Houston has a
retractable roof.
I'm talking solid dome with turf on that bitch. I'm talking old school.
No, the Rays.
The Rays, yeah. Rays and does Arizona? No, they have a retractable, right?
No, they have retractable. And they don't have turf either.
Okay, now I have a question. This is a open question. What is the biggest mistake from this offseason and from signings towards 2013? I have mine.
Go for it.
Aroldis Chapman being put in the starting rotation.
Yes. Why?
Because when a guy can throw that hard, if you make him throw it that frequently, he's going to hurt his arm and he's going to be done.
Uh-huh.
Justin Verlander.
What about him? That he can throw hard?
Yeah, of course he throws hard. He hits 100.
But he has experience as a starter. Chapman is Chapman is a very effective closer with 2 pitches.
Chapman was a starter in Cuba.
He was.
Chapman was a starter in the minor league system as well.
He has 2 pitches.
It doesn't matter.
Fastball and a slider.
Oh, how many pitches already Dickey got?
Yeah.
He has 4. Doesn't use
how
them
many
often.
does he use?
He doesn't use them often, but a knuckleball is different than a 100-mile-per-hour fastball.
Right, but he has
Major league players can hit 100-mile-per-hour
he has a solid slider that has really good bite to it.
He's worked on his slider, but here's my.
Sorry if I keep looking at my window. I have this new neighbor that moved in, and I totally want to fuck her. So I'm waiting.
Good enough reason for me.
I'm trying to wait till she comes in, and I'm just gonna be like, "Hey!" When you see me go, "Hey!" I'll be like, "I'm trying to get down on the get down." But what were you saying? The Mo, I'm Mogo. I feel so weird. I don't hear Mo's voice enough.
Yeah, I know.
But, hear those golden pipes.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. All right, so good.
No, what's the question?
Aroldis Chapman.
Mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, Aroldis Chapman. Let's start with that.
Okay. Chapman, definitely a big mistake. I mean, he was having arm fatigue last year toward the end of the season, and they considered shutting him down, but they didn't end up doing that. I think that Hamilton is going to have a lot to prove with the huge contract that he got. I'm not sure. I think he'll do pretty well, but I think he'll struggle in the beginning, kind of like Pujols did last year. I think Hamilton is the riskiest.
All right.
Hamilton won't have. I mean, he was in that division. I mean, the Pujols was coming from National League to American League.
Yeah, that is a big change.
Yeah.
Hamilton knows those pitchers, man. It's the same division.
One note
about
Chapman. It's much harder to hit 105-mile-per-hour fastball in the 9th inning when you've seen 92, 93 the entire game. Is it not?
Well, it's hard no matter how hard you're throwing it in the 9th inning because a lot of guys have said this before. At that point, fatigue is starting to set in on the batter because they've been playing a lot longer. The pitcher coming out fresh and throwing hard, is always going to catch them off guard. They always have to readjust. They always have to, keep in the back of their mind, whether or not they're going to start changing up velocity on them, as well as pitch location. So it's always going to be, difficult for a batter to pick up a fresh arm coming out of the pen simply because, they're more fresh. They're not as fatigued.
Right.
I just think it's a mistake as a whole. I mean, you're taking away a roster spot for a rotation spot from somebody. You're giving a guy like Mo said, who already had fatigue problems as a reliever, as a closer, a guy who is a very good closer, who is very young. And what's going to happen? Are they going to have to put him on an innings limit this year?
I think the biggest travesty of all is we will never ever see his cartwheel thing that he did that one time ever again because that was.
I'm grateful for that, to be honest.
When he did his little flips. Oh, I lost it. I was laughing so hard.
I think that was the turning point where he started, after that, things kind of tailed off for him. I think he fatigued himself doing the cartwheel.
I think so. I think he heard it. Something fucked him up.
Yeah.
Do you think if he's a starter, we'll see 102?
That's how Johnny Cueto got hurt. He was trying to do front flips with him, and then he kind of little tightness, and then when he threw it,
But my thing is, I understand why they're doing it because if given the option of either Chapman in your rotation or Mike Leake, do you really want to go with Mike Leake?
If I can have
Mike MoonlightSwami!
If I can have Chapman as my closer, yeah.
You would rather have Leake in that rotation?
I would rather have Leake in that rotation than give up a guy who can throw 105 in the 9th inning, who has shut down countless batters last season, and try to change his role to who would be their closer this year? Madsen? Marshall? Two guys who've never been closers?
I forget who they had at the end last year.
Do they have Broxton still?
Yeah, they have Broxton.
Really? Broxton. You won!
Broxton! Oh, that's a good one! Oh, my God. That is funny. Jonathan Broxton as a closer.
He didn't make it on the Dodgers. He didn't make it on the Royals. The Royals!
Oh, Jonathan Broxton. The guy who was one strike away from putting us over in the NLCS, and he gives up a fucking triple to Jimmy Rollins. Fuck Jonathan Broxton.
Did the same thing against the Giants.
Fuck him too.
Hey, Actually,
I know, because I called that shit like he's going to fuck it up because he chokes. Mo,
right,
what do you think about Jonathan Broxton and the rest of the shenanigans?
He's not a great closer. He's not a great pitcher. I mean, that's about it.
All right. We have to hit this segment. We should honestly name this segment whenever I have to interject and kind of bring you all back to reality with some stats here. I mean, you look at the last 2 seasons he pitched in Los Angeles. There was definitely something wrong with him, but last year had a really strong bounce back year. 60 games played, 58 innings pitched, 56 hits surrendered, 16 earned runs, 2 home runs, 17 walks to 45 strikeouts.
How many
248
saves?
ERA, 126 WHIP.
How many saves?
He got let me see, 27 saves altogether in the season.
How many blown
How
saves?
many did he blow?
6.
That's too many.
That's
That
too many.
is.
How many did Chapman blow?
Chapman? Let me bring him up, actually.
How much shit did Jonathan Broxton fuck up in the playoffs? That's your answer right there. Because he fucked everything up in the playoffs for the Dodgers with the Manny Ramirez era. He fucked it all up. We were in the NLCS twice, and he fucked it all up.
Chapman blew 5 with 38 saves.
What was his ERA?
151 and an 81
Shit
WHIP.
out of me, dude.
I'd rather have Chapman as a closer, just because. I want to see 105 on that radar gun. I want to see it up. I don't want to see him have to hold back and throw 100 for the entire game so he doesn't get tired in the 4th inning.
But here's the thing. I've said it before. It's really going to depend on the guys themselves. But when you look at someone like Justin Verlander, who can still top 100 going into the 9th inning after pitching solidly all game long, there are certain guys that have that ability. I think a Chapman definitely has that ability, more so than say someone like Jabba Chamberlain, who a lot of people had high hopes on. Coming out of the from being a strong setup man for the Yankees and turning into a starting pitcher. I think Chapman has that ability. I'd like to see him actually use it. I think the problem with him is he's got the worst manager possible for this kind of scenario.
Hate Dusty Baker. You just hate the man.
The man has an entire trophy collection of arms. Okay,
that doesn't mean he's a bad manager. I'm kidding.
Yeah. All right. Matson is with the Angels. We keep forgetting about that. That's one of the quieter signings that we keep.
That no one really cared about because he didn't even pitch. And
yeah. So let's see. Second half stats for Aroldis Chapman here.
The Angels got both Burnett and Madsen, adding some good arms to that bullpen.
Yeah. So the second half for Chapman. A 1.11 ERA in 33 games played. He had 31 finishes. 27 saves came during that second half. 32 and a third innings pitched. So they kind of cut him on some innings here because in the first half he already had 39. Yeah. Surrendered 18 hits, which is up compared to the first half. 4 earned runs, 1 home run, 11 walks, which is also up compared to the first half. And strikeouts 51. That's down from the first half. So there's definitely some concerns, about fatigue with him. I don't think he's used to the 162 game season.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a concern whether you put him in the pen or in the starting rotation anyway. So I think if you can undercut Mike Leake, who has been struggling, he's always inconsistent, always up and down. If you can cut him out of that rotation and give yourself another guy that can get you 6-7 innings of quality to help pull off some of the stress from the bullpen, I think that helps out a lot more for the team's end mission, which is to make the World Series.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but let's find another question. I'd say let's go 15 more minutes. We started 15 minutes late.
Right. Okay. So let's see. Do you think Michael Bourne, Kyle Loesch will find a team before the season starts? If not, when do you think the both of them will sign and where?
Too good to be not signed, both of them. We've had our criticism of Loesch back and forth, Bourne, we're pretty unanimous on the fact that he's a good player, a very fast player, and somebody that there's not a huge market for, and that damn draft pick problem. I think he's going to go to the Mets. Second round, they're going to give that up. I can't see the first round going for him. I think but that MLB cannot afford to let him just not play a season because of a damn draft pick that they instituted this year. I don't think they can do that. There's the flaw in the system right there. The fact that they can replace somebody like that and whatever. But
my thing is, I don't see him missing out a year, regardless of whether the teams are still. I think right now a lot of teams are just buying their time to see if he'll start bringing down his asking price. I think a lot of teams are also wondering whether or not he's still looking for that multi-year deal as opposed to probably signing for a year, which they would be more than okay with, in terms of giving up that quality pick. And not a lot of teams have a quality pick and probably wouldn't mind losing out on that draft spot anyway, because the odds are with baseball's amateur drafts, a lot of guys get drafted, but not many of them end up signing in the end of it all.
Pirates are one of those key cases, which is why that
lack of a signing hurt them this year.
Now, Kyle Loesch, I'm assuming his asking price is closer to about $10 million, kind of close to what Dan Harron wanted,
and rightfully so considering the year he had.
But completely rightfully so, no one will sign him for that. I'd say he is a pitcher who deserves about, because I'd give him 2 years, but I think he'll want more, so I could settle for 3 years, $24 million. I would not go more. I'm not signing him for more than $8 million a year, and I'd also front load it, because if I have to back load it, nobody will want to take him. Especially if he starts tailing off and he has a huge contract of $20 million for his final 2 seasons. So
I think a lot of it is that no one wants to give the Cardinals that kind of money considering the state of their farm system.
Yeah.
I think that's ultimately what it breaks down to, and I think it's best for him right now that he's still in this position, because a lot of teams are going to be walking into spring training, thinking they have their team set up, and 1 or 2 big injuries are going to occur, and they're going to be scrambling looking for some pitching help, and he'll be there, with the right asking price. Armor.
Well, what do you think? Balls you back?
I think that Loesch, I agree. I think Loesch will sign probably $8 million a year for 3 or 4 years. Definitely, they do need to front load it, because he is not a young pitcher by any means, and if they do want to trade him, if he's still good in like the 2nd or 3rd year, the contract will be going down, and so that definitely helps them. As far as Bourne goes, I agree. I think the Union will probably accept the Mets' 2nd round pick instead of the 1st, and do you think the Mets would give him a long term, 5 years, or like 1 or 2 years?
I think they'll give him a 4 or 5 year. I
see them undercutting him a little bit.
Establish something.
All right. Well, either way, I think the Mets will probably end up signing Bourne.
All right. Smalls is nowhere to be found, so let's find a new question.
Okay.
Smalls.
Where is it? I just saw it here. Is this it? No, I'm missing it somewhere here. Okay, better chance of making it to the playoffs, Red Sox or Diamondbacks?
Diamondbacks.
Well, that's a tough one, especially because the D-backs just got rid of Upton, biggest piece on their team. The AL East is tough too, but I could see the Red Sox getting in, at least more likely than Diamondbacks.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
The D-backs giving up Justin Upton was a good move in the long run, but right now, for this year at least, not very much. Because the Giants are going to be on top, the Dodgers are going to be there, because they improved a lot. And the Red Sox, they made some moves that could be great in this season. With Dempster, with Napoli, with Victorino, I could see all of them having good years, especially in that ballpark. Dempster a little less because he's a pitcher, but I mean,
Dempster does have a very nice sinker, so
that's a good point. Ground ball pitcher.
I think their bullpen has become phenomenal. The moving Bard back to the bullpen, Hanrahan, Bailey, two guys who can definitely get saves. Bailey coming off surgery, so hopefully he'll be better. I think their bullpen looks pretty good. Their starting rotation is a huge problem. Adding Dempster helps, but their starting rotation is a mess.
Right.
A lot of that. Lackey. All three of those guys need to have bounce back years by all means. They have Goldie. I mean, not Goldie. The Diamondbacks have Goldie. They have Salty. They have Saltalamacchia. They have Middlebrooks. They have Pedroia. They have Stephen Drew, who they signed. They have Victorino. They have Ellsbury. They have
Napoli.
Napoli, of course. What's his name? Not Nova. The guy in the outfield.
Kalish?
Reinsme?
No, it was a young player who had a few good games. They also have that shortstop, who I don't remember his name. The guy who killed the Yankees last year.
Oh, I don't know.
But either way.
Did someone call the cops?
That's outside.
Yeah.
Oh, I tried muting. I thought it was Smalls because I see the flashing lights.
No, that's me.
Oh, okay. I think the Diamondbacks have a really good team. I'm surprised by Kubel. I'm still surprised by Kubel year in, year out. The fact that he's doing so well, I'm just shocked that he's doing so well. He never seemed like that type of player. But then again, Minnesota can do that to you. Look at Ortiz, even with steroids, whatever. But I think the fact that they have Goldschmidt, Goldie, they have Montero, they have Hill, who can be a good player, very good player. That hole at shortstop, it's whatever. They have Prado. Then they have Parra, and they have Ross, and they have Eden. And they have a really good starting team, and there goes Smalls. But, I mean, they have a good team. So I think they have a better chance of being that dark horse in the NL. And I think there's just too many obstacles in the way for the Red Sox, especially with that starting rotation in that hitter's ballpark. If you can't pitch in a ballpark like that, then you're in deep trouble. I mean, if it's a pitcher's ballpark, then you're saved by some speedy outfielders, which they have. But most of the stadiums in that division are, well, what would you say most of them are? Yankees, obviously hitters. Fenway's obviously hitters. Tampa Bay?
Hitters.
Toronto, maybe pitchers because of the huge walls.
No, I see that more hitters friendly.
Okay, and
very big gaps.
And Baltimore.
Baltimore, definitely a hitter's ballpark.
So, in that division, if you don't have a starting rotation, you're in deep trouble. So, I mean, you play each team, 18 times for your own division?
I think they lessened it this year, considering there's going to be a lot more interleague play. So
maybe 15. One less series, maybe?
Maybe.
15. Yeah, I don't think they can cut out more. So, I mean, that's, 60 games against your division? You're going to have a lot of trouble, especially in all hitters' ballparks. So I think Diamondbacks have the better chance, especially considering they're going to be playing the Rockies a lot and the Padres in Arizona. And even in Petco, they have some speedy players who can get good gap hits. And okay, one more question. Let's go with that, and then we'll call it a night.
Really, so a lot of the better questions came earlier that we kind of missed, and since that's not going to show up, we got to get what we grab here. A player with a lot of power, home run with a lower average. Was that? No, that wasn't a question. Where? Of course, of course it got bumped down when I was trying to. This fucking comment system. Where did it go?
Oh, I found.
Here we go. Best batting team in the MLB right now.
Best batting team in MLB. Ooh. It's an interesting one. Who would you say? Jared, why don't you start? Because I've been starting a bit.
A lot of different avenues to go on this one. I think if the Phillies are healthy, and if you can get a resurgent Chase Utley, they're a lot tougher to beat now than they were last season.
Agreed.
I'm still interested about the Dodgers. I think Kemp, Ethier, if they can get a resurging Hanley who's invigorating and exciting, excited to play in Los Angeles. If you can get a bounce back year from Adrian Gonzalez, who I think is kind of doing a bounce back, considering he's back to the division he had the best level of success of his career so far. That's an interesting one. I think I want to go with the sleeper pick here, though. I think offensively, a lot of people are going to be snoozing on the Mariners, and I don't fully understand why.
Didn't you destroy them for hitting for the entire first 4 or 5 shows? Was that hitting or pitching? That was
pitching.
Runs. That was runs.
I mocked them. You know, again, they have a lot of youth there, and if that youth can actually turn around, because you have Dustin Ackley, you have who's the Sager, you have Montero, you have Smoke, who's got to start panning out eventually. I think, you know, if these guys can finally make that turn, that adjustment, they automatically become a really threatening team.
Yeah, I can see that. By the way, the players, I'm looking in the comments because I actually found it. The comments on the Hangout Toolbox, it shows them, and then right after the oldest one, it shows up. They start coming in. So
let me check.
Right under 752, they started coming in.
Still nothing on my end. This thing doesn't work for me.
Okay. Daniel Nava and Pedro Siriaco.
Yeah.
Those are the names for the Red Sox. And we forgot about mentioning David Ortiz, but that's just kind of a given that he'll do well for them.
Right.
What's up, VA Baseball? And best hitting team? I was
thinking either Tigers or Angels, maybe.
I think I could agree with you on the Tigers.
Yeah, Tigers, just because they had a pretty good hitting team last year to begin with, and in the offseason they added Torrey Hunter. That's definitely going to help them, whether he bats number 2 or 6 or wherever he's going to bat. He's definitely going to help them out.
Yeah, they're also bringing back Victor Martinez,
right?
Who is one of the best hitters in baseball when he is healthy.
I really do question that. Where are you getting that from?
Just from my knowledge and watching him play for a long time. For whatever reason, when I would watch the Indians, I would only watch him because I knew that there wasn't going to be much going on around him. When it was Grady Sizemore and it was Victor Martinez.
Okay, but how often do you think he's been a prolific hitter? Like, what do you constitute him? What makes you constitute him as a prolific hitter?
A few seasons of just really very consistent. The time when you need him to get a hit, he'll get a hit, and he'll do it consistently. The season before he got traded to the Tigers, or signed with the Tigers, was definitely his best season. I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I just remember watching him, and I remember seeing him have one of the best eyes in baseball when it came to that type of stuff. He just, no matter where the pitch location was, he either took it because he knew it was a bad pitch. It's like what a major league player should do. He took the pitches that he knew were good, and he made the most of them. And not every player can do that.
Right. I'm still just floored when you say Victor Martinez is probably the best hitter when healthy. I don't see it.
I didn't say probably the best. I said one of the best.
Okay, one of the best. I don't see him.
He's the best.
All right. Well, I guess we should kind of get into this conversation. Top 5 hitters in the league right now. Where do you put him? Is he in your top 5?
Maybe 7, 8.
So top 10.
Yeah. 336 for Boston, and in 2009 overall 303. 330 for Detroit. 278 in Cleveland in 08. 301, 316, 305.
All right. Well, you're looking at averages. I always tend to gauge a hitter based upon the hits more so than anything else.
167, 181, 169, 74 in a very shortened 2008 season, 178, 149, 178.
Right.
The lifetime average 303.
I think a prolific hitter is someone that could get 180 and more hits, consistently every season. When I look at Victor Martinez, I see a guy that can be, consistent, but just falls short of that prolific mark that makes him, a more feared hitter.
His 162 average is 183, but he has not played a full 162 game season in his career.
No, I understand that.
So I'm just saying that based on how he plays, he is up to that caliber. He just never can play that full time because he was a catcher for a long time, and then, whatever. But
right, my thing is, I guess the best way to kind of compare him, would you take him over, some of the other more prolific players of his position? We'll say designated hitter, considering that's basically what he's going to be from now on anyway.
If I need a hit, I might take him. If I need a extra base hit or a home run or something else, I would take somebody else. If I need a single, I will take him. He is a slap hitter who will do it, and I would take him.
I don't see him as a slap hitter. I see him as a gap to gap kind of guy.
But he doesn't get that many doubles. He does, but he's not that type of player. He gets a lot of singles. He gets a lot of finding the infield gaps, not the outfield gaps. He hits those seeing eye singles on a daily basis. That's what I like about him. I like that flash. I like that pop.
I'm now wondering what you qualify as a slap hitter now. So I see the more we talk about this, the deeper this rabbit hole is going, and I'm really, really interested in where your psyche is at with this.
It all goes back to my small game type player who I can trust to get hits.
Right.
He's not a home run hitter. He's not. If you want a home run hitter, I'll take Pujols. I'll take maybe not Hamilton, just because he strikes out a bit too much for my taste. Miguel Cabrera, maybe not even a home run hitter, just a good hitter who will hit 30 home runs. I think he is the second best hitter on that team. I'm going to outright say that.
My philosophy is a guy that hits 20 home runs, above 20 home runs consistently has good power, and Victor Martinez is a guy that has good power. Is he going to be a big home run kind of guy? No, of course not. I think those kind of guys with that kind of power are typically rare for a lot of teams. For example, the Mets have Ike Davis, who struggled mightily for 2 months. I mean, just imagine what he could have done with those 2 months back.
Yeah.
So for me, I like Victor Martinez. I don't like him enough that I would even consider him top 10, of hitters today. I just can't. I can't do it. You have way too much talent around that are bigger and more prolific hitters than him. I think he's a good hitter. I just don't think I don't put him in the same the same pedestal that you seem to do. And I'm really curious why you think so highly of him.
Mo, let's throw you in here, and then I'll try to figure it out myself.
Right.
Okay. About VMart?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, when healthy, I agree he's a great hitter. He's a big piece to whatever team he's on. Probably, I would agree he's the second best hitter on the team, just because Fielder is not going to get 180 hits a year. And like you said, if I need a single, if I need a hit to go ahead, tie the game, whatever, I'll probably take VMart. Is he a top 5 hitter, though, in general? Probably not for me. Top 10? Probably not. But he's a solid player, and he's been a solid player for several years now. And I think he's good. I don't think he's anything really special, but he's definitely a solid player.
Right now, I think there are a few first basemen who are better hitters. I think there is maybe 2-3 outfielders, and I think there's Miguel Cabrera. I would say Votto, Cabrera, Kemp, Trout, Pujols, Konerko, and fill in a blank if I'm thinking. There's somebody who I know has really good average who gets on base a lot. It does a lot of damage for teams. So don't hold me exactly to that list. I'd say he's probably the 7th or 8th best hitter, in my opinion, when he's healthy. And I think that he could show that this year, especially with the protection around him. Because, to be honest, players show their best colors when they have protection around them. That's just how it is. If they are getting walked 168 times, then it's going to be harder for them to show how good they can hit, how well they can hit, than if they have a guy who's feared right in front or behind them. Or if they walk them because they want to get to somebody else. That who is a good player. That also shows it. But what, Jared? I see you're questioning things.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm trying to figure out, did you say that a player is... You might have to run that back on me because I got lost there. You said a player is at his best when he has protection around him?
That they can his truest form can be out when he has protection around him.
I don't think that's a sign of a good hitter, though. I think, if you're that guy that's more feared and you protect other guys, that makes you the better hitter.
Yeah, that's why I kept adding on to that by saying that if they walk people, if they walk him to get to other people when he has protection in that lineup, that'll show how feared he is. But if they have to pitch to him, that'll show how good of a hitter he is if he'll perform up to that. That's what I'm kind of getting at.
I don't know. I always tend to follow more of the traditional formula here, where your number 3 hitter has got to be your best hitter, and then followed up by the guy that has the best average and ability to drive in runs behind him. And then the 5 guy is the cleanup guy in case number 4 doesn't work out. Yeah. That to me kind of I don't see Victor Martinez ever being a 3-hole hitter.
I can understand that. I've always seen him as a 5.
And that's the role I typically see him always putting in.
I just think that he's a really good talent and that he has the ability that maybe not a 3 just because of his skill set, I guess.
Right.
That he's a reliable enough player and a good enough player to be able to perform and whatever. One more question. Let's just end the show on one more.
All right. I see someone says Victor was definitely at least top 15 in 2011.
330 average.
I think that one's a little more debatable. I think that one I can probably see a little bit better because 2011 he had a really spectacular year.
Yeah.
In your minds, is there any chance that the Mariners can finish ahead of the Rangers this year? This is like the 3rd time we've gotten that question, basically.
And you know what? It used to be no. And it's slowly, the more it's asked, the more I can see it.
I agree.
I think I already said this like the first time we asked.
Yeah, you did. I was very critical of you.
Yeah, I think the only problem the Mariners have moving forward is after King Felix, what do they have in that rotation that you can really rely upon to help you get those crucial wins?
But, yeah, I know what you mean. But I just feel like I'm not... It's not that I'm not sold on the Rangers because they have a good team. They don't have a really good team. They have a good team. But the Mariners, their younger talent seems to be a little bit more and more presentable every day. They seem to be making just small little moves here and there to help base around them. And I think that there's enough talent there that they could make, because baseball, like every sport, it's not a given. There's nothing that's a given. I think the age of the Rangers and their health might hinder them a little bit. I think some of those players are not young enough. Kinsler, Murphy, Moreland, Cruz, Beltre, Pierzynski. They're not the youngest team. And they won't heal as quickly as Elvis Andrus if he gets hurt. So, and then you look at the Mariners. They have a lot of young players. They have Jesus Montero. They have Ackley. They have Seager. They have Smoke. They have Ibanez now, who's not a young player in any regard. And they have Kendrys Morales, who's not very young, but he's still on the younger end of things. So what is he, 28, 29?
I believe 29, going on 30 this year.
He's not 30, 35 years old. I think that they have a better chance as the postseason, as the off season has progressed, that they could make a push to 81, 82 wins, bring down the Rangers a bit, and maybe finish within a game or two of them, either above or below. Well, what do you think?
You're right. I definitely agree with that. Just like you, when Jared said that second show, I thought that was crazy. But you know what? The more you think about it, the more I think about it, it's definitely in the realm of possibility. And especially, Nelson Cruz isn't a great player by any means.
No.
But especially if Nelson Cruz gets suspended for 50 games, that's a pretty big piece considering the offense that they have now after losing all the players that they did this past offseason. So is it possible? Definitely. Do I think it's going to happen, though? Probably not. But it's definitely possible.
Okay, I'm going to end this note on me sounding extremely stupid. Who knew that Craig Gentry was a fast player?
Not me.
Gentry,
Because apparently, I'm basing this off of MLB 2K12, not the best source. One of the reasons I also like Victor Martinez, not because of the game, but it just helped reinforce it that he was like a 95, and he's a switch hitter as well, which is very important to have a really good hitting switch hitter from both sides of the plate.
right.
Gentry's a 91 speed.
I don't know where they're getting that from, though.
I don't know. He looks like that brawny guy who is a stocky type of player, who's like maybe not stocky, maybe 6'2", 220 guy who doesn't seem like he should have any speed to him. That he's a power hitter, but not a power hitter, but not a speed guy, but a 91 speed. I was showing somebody the nuances between the Twin Stadium and how it is in real life.
Right.
And it was Rangers versus Twins, and they had Jerkson Profar and Alt and all those people, and then they had Gentry, and he stole a base on me. It's like 91.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Time to look him up.
Well, I'm looking at his stats from here. He's had 18 stolen bases in 2011, and last year he had 13 in 20 attempts.
I don't understand.
I don't know where that's coming from, to be honest. Where are they getting their numbers? Then again, one of the biggest questions I had, when I got MLB 2K12 was, why does Matt Downs have a 70 power? He had 10 home runs the previous season.
2K.
Yeah,
That's the only reason.
Yeah, 2K. Just what?
I don't understand it. I really don't. And they had Mike Alt at like 65 power.
60.
Then
again, they're not very generous with the prospects for some reason.
They had a C+ rating for him, and they had a B- for Profar. But
okay. I'm now curious how they would have rated,
wait,
like
you still have the game, right?
What, the show 12?
No, 2K12.
2K12? Yeah, I haven't touched it in months.
Put it in. Just look at the rosters. There's something seriously wrong with it.
Well, it's 2K. They don't care about baseball so much.
Well, let's see how they care about their game. Hopefully we'll all get some test copies. Otherwise, I don't know who's spending $60 on the game.
No, if they want me to test it, they better not only just send me a free copy, they better send me $60 with it. There is no way I'm touching that game.
Just because you'll need a new Xbox after it goes in.
Yeah, that thing is like a cancer.
Okay, before we go, I'm going to have on the show at some point Nick Aidenhart jersey. I'm going to be buying that.
Okay.
So, any suggestions for jerseys, you think, you guys? I'm probably getting a Joe Morgan Colt 45. This is a Babe Ruth Boston Braves 1935 jersey, Mitchell and Ness, which I'll be reviewing sooner or later. Nice cheap plug. NFL Rep Shop, repnflshop.com. Great jerseys. But any suggestions I should get?
I'm really trying to think here. I don't know. I always kind of. I'm always an oddball with these sort of things. Like if I were to start wearing jerseys here, I'd want to wear some of the more bizarre ones that people might not remember. Like I'm the kind of guy that would actually want to wear the Marlins Piazza jersey.
You'd be one of the guys to wear the rainbow Astros jerseys, wouldn't you? You'd be one of those people, wouldn't you? Reliving your
if I wanted to piss someone off, yeah, I would wear that.
Heyday of the '80s. What are you gonna do? Show up in the full Chicago White Sox attire with the short shorts?
Yeah, if I were
That
to
was the
do
best
that,
idea
I'd
they
have to
ever
walk
had.
around with some white substance around my nose just to kind of get, tell the joke.
That was the best. That was the best idea they ever had.
Man,
Wearing
there's a
short
lot of
shorts.
jerseys that I like. Have you? I think it was
Aaron
the
Seeley.
19. What was it? The 1908 or 1918 Chicago White Sox ones that I cringe at every time I see because it's like this inverted pinstripe where it's dark blue with white
Yeah,
pinstripes on it. I
I
just
saw that. Those are weird.
I cringe every time I see them.
They have some Jimmy Fox jerseys. I like the old school. You know what's incredible? Watching baseball, MLB Network all day. Willie McCovey might have been a better hitter than Willie Mays. Maybe not average-wise, but in his clutchness and his overall, there are times that they said that he was a better hitter than Willie, including Willie Mays.
Really?
That McCovey hit the ball so hard that you were afraid every time he got up to bat. That he was a Vlad Guerrero, but harder hitter. Any of you guys remember MLB High Heat on the computer?
Um,
2002, 2003? Remember those games?
that's not really ringing any bells for me.
It's a fantastic game. I loved it. They had Satchel Paige as one of the options for one of the unlocks. He threw 114 in the game. The highest you could throw with any regular pitcher was Pedro Martinez at 102. He was throwing 114.
Well, there are guys that have a lot of surprising power to their pitches. Like Bobby Parnell had actually hit what I think it was. What was the highest that season? I think 104 out in Arizona. I think it was, or no, actually it might have been in Houston.
Yeah, I think Mo left.
Did he?
Shut up.
Oh God, not the turn. Oh God, I totally forgot about these. The turn ahead the clock.
Oh yeah, the Mike Piazza, the Mets, the futuristic bullshit.
What was it? It was the Oh God, was it the Venus Mets?
Yeah. By the way, yes, I'm probably going to be getting a Lou Gehrig jersey. They were out of stock when I went to get them last time. The jerseys that I had, the ones that I wanted, was a Stan Musial, a Ken Griffey Jr. Navy Mariners jersey, Tom Seaver, a Ted Williams, a Gehrig, an Aiden Hart, and a John Stockton. That's the only non-baseball because the old Jazz jerseys were pretty cool.
If it were possible, I would probably want to get like an old school turquoise Mariners jersey of Nelson Cruz Jr.
Jose.
I mean, not Nelson Cruz, Jose Cruz.
You know what? You can probably customize it somewhere. You know what? Go on eBay. I know you'll find it. Okay.
I don't think those things really sold all that well. I don't know.
You know what? If I get an Aaron Seeley jersey, I'm taking $5 from each of you guys. I'm promoting. If I get an Aaron Seeley jersey, if they have those, I will get one. I know they don't have a Sean Estes. I'm almost guaranteed. It's just too far. But Aaron Seeley on those Mariners? Are you looking it up?
Just cards.
Are you really looking up a Jose Cruz Jr.?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I think on this note of just insanity,
I'm seeing a lot of cards here. I'm really disappointed. I'm not seeing any. Wait, we have 5 items listed as jersey. Oh, that's the cards with the jersey imprints. Never mind.
Oh, one final note before I think we should shut the show off.
What was that?
One final note before we end the show.
Oh,
This. It's hard to see it this way. It is a Stan Musial signed baseball. Ordered it about 3 or 4 weeks before he passed away. And I now have it as part of my collection. It is 16 out of 60. Has his MVP season numbers on there, 1948, 376 average.
I'll be honest with you. I've grown really disgusted with the way the memorabilia trend has kind of gone. I mean, I have a David Cohn autographs baseball that I got when he was doing a personal appearance at a store,
Mhm.
and it is because I didn't get it verified. I don't have a certificate for it or anything. That baseball is practically worthless, and I don't understand why all
Well,
of a
it's not
sudden.
worthless in your heart.
Oh no, it's true. But it just seems like they're finding ways to kind of undercut the
Oh yeah.
consumers on the value of these memorabilia items that they're not only quick to sell you, but ultimately, if you get it personally signed by the player themselves at any kind of, they're making the signatures themselves worthless.
This baseball. Look how old this is. This is I'd say it's 11 years old right now. I was 7 years old at a Mets Red Sox game in Shea. And I hollered at Pedro Martinez for 10 minutes while he was warming up. And he said, "If I give you this, will you please stop?" And he tossed me the baseball.
Hey kid, can you shut up? Here's the ball.
Yeah, pretty much. In his thick accent. And then there was another time where later in that season, I think he tried killing me, but we were leaving. We were leaving a Red Sox Blue Jays game, and a limo with him, Nomar, and Manny Ramirez almost hit me and my mom crossing the street. Zoomed out of the parking lot.
He's like, "I remember that kid. Hit him, hit him."
It was later in the season too. This game was in April. That game was in July. And they had their head sticking out of the limousine and just stopped short. Nomar apologizes. Pedro's like, "Damn it." Manny's just Manny. He's just laughing hysterically. Probably drinking and eating fried chicken. Okay, on that note, guys, I think we should call this a show.
Yeah.
I'm MoonlightSwami for Jared, aka Saint of Sins, Mo the Foe, who is gone at the moment, and Smalls, who left at the very end.
Probably went to go bang his neighbor.
Yeah, hopefully. Let's pray for him. I hope you guys enjoy. And make sure to leave a like rating. All the links are in the description below. I'm MoonlightSwami. I'll be on guys later. Peace.